is it? Oh, you got it muted, Jay. What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What up? Welcome to not just the Fanatic Sports Podcast today, episode 7 for us, but podcast here today. Shout out Big Worm Jay and my man Tone. So excited to have y'all on board with us.
What up, y'all?
And
what's up, man?
And of course, I can't go without mentioning Angry Salsa, the angry Puerto Rican, Anthony Roman, man. Happy to have everybody here with us today, man. This is a dream. We've been talking about this for almost a month or so, right? Like for real, man. So really excited to get it together. So before we jump all the way in, man, we got to start with. I mean, it's breaking news. We were just talking about it off air, but like. Matthew Sluka, the quarterback, well, apparently now redshirt senior quarterback for the University of Nevada, Las Vegas football team. This man played 3 games and is going to take his red shirt for this season and apparently intends to transfer out because the word is allegedly he was promised $100,000 in NIL money. And UNLV has not made good on that promise. Tone, I'm gonna start with you, man. Tell me your thoughts and what you see so far. And the news just broke in about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. Tell me what you got so far.
Man, you know what? It's crazy because to your point, I think they allegedly offered him 100K, and I think he's only got 80K of it so far.
Right.
He's getting ready to opt out of it. I don't know. It's crazy. You wait now 3 games into the season, all of a sudden pull the plug on it.
Now it's a problem. Now it's an issue because and that's the crazy thing for me, man. Is you and like you said, man, it's not like he walked in on campus in August and he's been there since the portal opened up in February, March, somewhere in there, right? That's the earliest transfer day. So he's been on campus 7 months. If the 100,000 was what he was promised, why are you waiting till now? Like, and I get it, you want to be patient, and I bet you whoever promised it to him has been leading them on and stringing them on. But like one of the things that NIL, the name, image, and likeness, that is all about you as a business. Let's take it back 5-6 years when Northwestern, fought for the right to have unions for their players, right? That was all about being able to that, and that's what spurred it. That's what kind of got the ball rolling. Of course, we don't forget what the dreaded O'Bannons did. I don't actually hate what they did. I don't hate what they did. I just hate that they cooked us in the 95 championship. And then they go and take away college football from me, too. So
I'm still playing college football 2013 because of them guys. I ain't even
exactly.
Wow.
You want to take it back?
You went back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was the one with Larry Fitzgerald on the front or something, wasn't it?
I think that one had that had RG3.
Yeah. He was an animal.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's a big thing, man. Looking at what Sluka is doing, and I think the interesting thing for me is that you look at a guy like these days, they say kids are coming in asking for 6-7 figures out of the gate. And if not only do you have to have the 100,000 to get them there, you got to have another 100,000 to keep them. Like, so the amount of money that needs to be prepared for each player, I want to say they were talking about with Cal coming to Arkansas was something like $10 million that was set aside from what they're paying him, aside from all the buyout and everything else. $10 million of money for NIL just for the basketball team. And obviously, you know, thank God we're in the area of Northwest Arkansas where that money is easily accessible. But yeah, that's just 10 million for the basketball team. So imagine you got to know it's probably 25 for the football team and probably 5 million or 10 million for the baseball team too. Right? And we're not even talking about women's.
You know, it's funny you brought up, you know, the 10 million going to Cal.
Yeah.
Because I listened to your Run Your Mouth podcast where y'all were talking about Hunter and how it was like, you know, the money and all of that. It's like, why didn't y'all set aside money for this year as well? Like, you know, for all of these players, if you're sitting here complaining about NIL money. And Saban has been an advocate for being against NIL.
Right.
We all know that.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, if you're a player like Sluka and you're coming out and you're saying I didn't get this. They guaranteed me this. Let me see your contract. Let me see that contract. Put it out there so we can see it, so we can see what you're talking about and why you were withheld that. Obviously, if a company is going to offer you that money, they're going to put it in contract writing. You're signing a contract. Obviously, you did something to not get that money.
Right.
It does not matter. And that's the thing that bothers me with this NIL deals that go on. I want to see what kind of contract you're offering these players to get them this amount of money and what they have to do on their side to fulfill that. That's like you signing a contract with Nike, a big contract, and you got to make sure you out of trouble. Yeah. You're not doing anything wrong. Everything I know grades have to come into it as well.
Oh yeah,
grades definitely have to come into it. Are you partying? Are you doing things outside of the stadium, outside of your college? You know, your college fandom. Are you doing things? Did you get caught doing something you wasn't supposed to do? Ooh. I want to see that contract because I don't think waiting 3 games, then to say, oh, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to play. I'm going to transfer. Come on, buddy. There's got to be more that meets the eye. There's got to be something that meets the eye there.
Yeah, to your point on that. I feel like it's more behind the scenes that we're not getting right now.
Oh yeah.
Because I think one of the terms that we used that I looked at early was representations, right?
Yep.
What does representation include? You know, it's got to be more into that perspective as far as what's being told initially, right? And I'm sure, you know, as they start to dive into it and uncover everything, it's gonna be a little bit more that comes out to it. But my thing is, if you haven't gotten that money promise, why wait three games into the season to make it an issue now?
And it is to that point, man. You gotta believe that. And so this is the crazy thing about the NILs is that you gotta know that the NCAA is still very strict about all this. So they're gonna be Trump tight. So colleges have to be Trump tight. They got lawyers and NIL companies that are dedicated into working in this. You know, they got, you know, the businesses that they work with. So one of my good friends, you know, Jeremy, it was my LB, bro. Like closing my link. He was hired to be NIL for a big company. And so that's his job is to go work with NIL people. And he's got a lawyer that travels with him. They're not gonna let things just slip through the cracks. So if somebody promised you $100,000 and you didn't get it in writing, I guarantee you they got something that's gonna say that you signed. Because that's the other thing. They're not just handing you $3,000 in cash, man. They got to pay taxes on this thing. So everything is by the books. So man, there's a lot more that's gonna come to light. One other thing I wanted to mention on this just in before we get into our into the show, man. You know, prayers up for Hall of Famer Brett Favre, who announced that he has Parkinson's disease. You know, and if you know anybody that's unfamiliar with Parkinson's, amongst other things it does to your body, the biggest and most visual and aesthetic thing is that the tremors come, you know, uncontrollably, and you start to lose. In general, you start to lose control of your body, man. And so obviously, you think about a guy. This was one of the toughest guys in the NFL. He set the record, right, for the most starts, consecutive starts. right? So you look at it, and I'll tell you a quick story, and I've told the story before, and I can't remember if I told it on the air or not, but so about 6 years ago, yeah, it was on air. 6 years ago, I had a wreck. I got T-boned by a 02 Tahoe, old big heavy Tahoe, man. He was flying down not Weddington. What's the name of that street next to it? On the next exit up. But he's flying down this street, and I'm turning in the turning lane. It's a rainy day. We were over by Holt Middle School. If you're familiar with the area, right? So we're flying down that street, man. I get T-boned, and I spin. I hit the curb. I hit another car. And man, I'm scared to death that this is over with. I died, and I feel the car come to a stop. I open my eyes. I'm not dead. That's a great start. I can feel my fingers wiggle. That's also awesome. That means my arms aren't broken. And so let me get out and make sure everybody's okay. Man, so after all of that is over with, the car gets towed away, everything. I get a ride home from a buddy of mine to the house. The next morning I wake up and I feel sore in a familiar way. It feels like I played a football game. And so the reason I bring all this up is to say that when you play football, man, every game is like signing up for a car race.
Yep.
And so imagine, you play junior high, high school, college, and then you play 16 years in the pros at the highest level. So we're talking about 25, 30 years of abuse to his body. And, getting hit by men my size as fast as y'all. And so, I mean, like, you got to know that that's got to play a part in what we now are concerned with is his Parkinson's and his inability to control the tremors, inability to control his muscle. Man, it's a scary thought, man. So prayers up to him.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, you gotta watch that kind of stuff because now even looking at Ray Lewis Jr.
Yeah.
He even make it to the pros. He just, probably grew up playing linebacker, all that head banging for so long that, man, I think he ended up taking his own life a couple years ago. And I seen a podcast where Ray Lewis Jr.'s mom, and I think it was Antonio Brown.
Mm-hmm.
They had to sit down and just about CTE and all that kind of stuff. And one of my favorite players, Junior Seau, right. Committed suicide, shot himself in the chest, so his brain could be studied. I mean, it's scary, man. I know what they call the Halo caps.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm all for it, man. Whatever can protect the.
It just kind of makes me think, to what you're saying, in the CTE, kind of makes me go back to a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Watching Tua. And, seeing all of that,
scary.
seeing that happen, and just saying like, hey, look, he's going to go in that direction. When meanwhile, every analyst is saying, hey, maybe you should take a step back. You're getting that guaranteed money regardless. Yeah, regardless, that's guaranteed money.
Yep.
You'll take care of your family. Go jump in the booth.
Yep.
You can still be a part of the game. You don't need to play it. Save your life.
Yeah.
Because you get hit the wrong way, there's no telling if you're getting back up off that field. And we don't want. My thing is we don't want to. Well, here's my thing. We don't want another DeMar Hamlin situation.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's where us as fans we're looking at it. We're looking at it as fans are like, man, when that happened, I shed a tear. Like I started crying. I was like, yo, I've never witnessed it before in my life. I didn't play college ball or anything like that. I played Pop Warner. I've seen people, bulldoze and still get hit hard, and they getting taken off there, on a stretcher. That's still scary. But to be out there and you're getting hit like that, and it's just, to me, those things just go hand in hand with making sure that the player's okay. And I think there needs to be a huge, huge conversation between him, Roger, the medical staff, the NFL medical staff, to be like, hey, look, we don't want you playing. You're getting your guaranteed money. Get in the booth. Go do something. Be an advocate for people who have CTE, who have gone through this. You've done this 4 out of 5 years.
Right.
Oh, yes.
That's something that I feel like needs to be spoken about a little bit more. I guarantee you, we all play fantasy football. We all watch football on Fridays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. We're religious to it. But at the end of the day, they're, as I always say this on the show, they're human beings as well, not just athletes.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we have to protect them. And I think the NFL needs to do a better job. If they allow him to come back after 4 or 5 weeks, there's something that needs to be said about the NFL and what they're doing to protect players.
So to that point, this also just in that Derwin James, safety for the Chargers, was fined or suspended without pay for his helmet-to-helmet hit on Pat Freiermuth this past Sunday.
Yeah, which is needed. You can't do that, man. You can't play. You can't play the game like that anymore. Another one of my favorite players ever, even though he played for Texas, Earl Campbell.
Yeah,
man, I seen a video of him. He couldn't even walk.
Man, we talk about a guy that was a freight train, first of all, and then secondly, it just had tree trunks for legs. So if you're telling me that this guy is dealing with problems, and he only played like 5 years, right?
Yeah,
so,
he didn't play long.
So that kind of abuse just for so long, it has an effect on you, man. Like, and
it makes me think about Calvin Johnson. It makes me think about Calvin Johnson and him saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna retire early."
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that just makes it make sense, because look at the records and things he could have done. You know, in that, you know, playing with the Lions, and then him just randomly saying, "You know what? I got my money. I'm good. I did what I could, but I need to take care of myself. The game is weighing on me." And I think a lot of these players need to realize that themselves. You know, you can't go out there and be what was this Frank Gore, play 16, 17 years,
20 years,
you know what I mean, and still be okay, not knowing, hey, you know what, the next game might be my last game. So it was smart to see that Calvin made that choice, and that's why I'm saying I think guys like Calvin, Barry Sanders, these guys that are retiring early, need to have a conversation with Tua and be a part of that conversation with Roger Goodell and be like, hey, look, this needs to be done.
For sure.
You know what? One thing about that Tua thing, too, is I know Jeremy and I kind of talked about it on our podcast as well. Guys, I feel like Tua has had so many concussions in such a short time. Like, if you look at the hit he even took, it wasn't a hit that, in my mind, warranted a concussion, right? Because like it was that violent of a hit. But I feel like he's had so many concussions over time. It's almost like any activity hit that brain area is going to warrant it. And so I think that another question is, sit down with your family, have those conversations with the medical team. Roger,
you got to have a real conversation.
Because definitely do. You know.
Hey, if I was him, I'm out. Hey,
gotta be. The way his body was tensing up, man. Like, and talking about Brett and Parkinson's and what that does to your body. The way his body was locking up, and that's a defense mechanism. Your body is meant to heal itself naturally. So when you see what the hand signals and all that stuff, that's his body begging for help and going into defense mode. Man, it like at first. So I'm like you, Tone. When I looked at the whole thing, my football mind says, "Man, that ain't that big of a deal." But then when it zoomed in and you see his body like locking up like that, that's scary, dog. That's scary. Little things, man. I think about now. I turned 40 in March, so looking back at what I did, looking back at my life and what the different times where my body was in a scary place, man. I played 3 weeks with I don't even know what was in my lung. I took a face mask to the chest or to the midsection, and I couldn't breathe well for 3 plays. Didn't come out. Then after that, like, man, don't tell me a joke at all, please. I couldn't laugh. I couldn't breathe deep. Nothing. And I'm still going out and playing the game. And by the way, I wasn't getting paid for it. So like, just look, I said it was for the love of the game then, but I look at it now and it's just like, man, that's scary. Yeah. That's it's a gladiator game. So I don't, for those who play, the youngsters that see this, I'm not telling you not to play. I'm telling you to play the right way. Yeah. That's the big thing. And so, look, Derwin James is actually one of my favorite players. I love the way he plays it, and he sells out, and that's the deal. But you got to be mindful of what you're doing, man. Like, because the scariest part is that hit. If you go back and watch it, that hit was not that hit would have hurt Pat more than, or I'm sorry, would have hurt Derwin more than would have hurt Pat.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if y'all remember. I'm sure you probably can name a player that got hurt from hitting with his head down. Man, there was a dude that played on the that I played minor league ball, but I also can remember some guys from high school and college that had to learn to walk again because they went down and hit with their head down, man. Like you got to play the game the right way, and not the necessarily victim blame or whatever the case is with them, but at the end of the day, you got to do the right thing and play the right way, and if for yourself and others, man. We never want anybody to get hurt. We all got jobs to go to, so
absolutely.
But definitely, so Dig, man. We for anybody that's checking it out, man, we are so excited, man, to have the Run Your Mouth podcast here, and it's a joint podcast, right? So this is not just our pod, with them featuring. It's their pod, man, and you definitely got to go check them out. I know I listen to them on Spotify, but they're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, so definitely got to give these guys a follow, man. They got great insight there each week, which is why we definitely had to have them on with us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Same as y'all as well.
So we're getting into the first topic. I want to get into. I got to start with the home team. Tone, I'm sorry. I got to start with the home team, man.
You're the OU fan.
All right.
Man.
So look, and we don't have to talk about anything OU related today if you don't want to. We can talk about their softball team if you want to. Listen, that was not the interesting thing about it was we questioned, hey, are they going to be good enough to play in the SEC? It's the big leagues, and they've dominated for 20 years, right? So obviously history says they'll be fine.
Yeah.
But man, this was a learning curve game between OU and Tennessee. And they caught a buzzsaw. That's the other thing, because Tennessee's hot as a firecracker right now. And so that was a tough look, but at the end of the day, so I guess we will start with OU. They're gonna come back down. They're gonna come back down to earth and see a much more formidable, if you will, team in Auburn.
Auburn?
Yeah. Do you agree?
No, I don't believe that's formidable at all. I feel like the Oklahoma's gonna take that loss that they had against Tennessee, and they're gonna beat the dog snot out of Auburn. I'm sorry. And that quarterback that quarterback Hank Brown better not get on the phone again talking about he gonna beat another SEC team.
Oh, he gonna be quiet. He gonna be quiet this week.
Oh yeah. Quiet as a church mouse. You ain't got to worry about him this week. I think.
So Tone, tell us the X factors for OU this week.
Dude, honestly, I think the X factor in this game this week is definitely going to be the offensive line. I think obviously Michael Hawkins Jr. They've named him the starter. He's getting the go ahead for the game on Saturday. We've got to get the line started up. We're right going back and forth. We can do injuries. We just got Brandon Hickman back last week. I think we was hoping to get Tony back to help out on the O-line. We're still trying to figure it out. But the thing for me that sticks out is we haven't been able to play football. First of all, our offense has been horrible. It's been abysmal on offense. But we got to be able to run the ball. You look at OU football over the past couple of years, one thing that's really been the staple is our ability to be able to play football, right? Like, be able to run, whether it's some sweeps, some counters, some inside, outside zones, stretch plays, whatever we've been able to do that. Over the first 4 games, we have not been able to do that whatsoever. And so I think we've got to be able to run the football. Once we're able to establish that, and of course it'll be able to open up the pass game for us.
Yeah.
And I think
that's like my old offensive coordinator would say that we run to pass the ball, which means we run the ball and then the play action sets up over the top of that.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the one thing that I feel like that's gonna come into a big key effect for the OU Sooners, the run game. We got I just totally forgot about this, man. I was reading about it earlier. You got that hurricane coming down. And it touches fall. You know what I mean? It touches landfall Thursday going into Friday.
Okay.
That could possibly lead into a lot of travel issues, things like that. We don't know how bad that field's gonna be. We don't know how good, things like that. So it could be possibly where y'all just running. It's gonna be a run game. It could possibly be that, and it's gonna come out to who's gonna have a better run, running attack. And y'all actually have a better running attack than Auburn.
Yeah. Auburn don't have much of anything. So
I can't knock, man. We can't knock Auburn. I mean, they were at some spots, man, in that game against Arkansas, they looked like an actual SEC team, and then towards the end of that second quarter, they looked like a Division I, high school team. So, but I honestly think OU wins this. This is I think y'all do win it by 21 or more.
I think it's for us. Looking back on that Tennessee game Saturday night, defensively, I think that's always been one of our Achilles heels, right? Not being able to play defense. Now we have a solid defense that really kept us in the game. To be honest with you, if we on that offense, we very well could be talking about a different outcome in that game right now, right? But
without a doubt,
again, we just got to get something shored up on that offensive side of the ball. We can figure that out. I think we will get something. I'm gonna go ahead. If I had to give a point spread on the game, I'll at least give I would say 28-17 OU, and not
17.
But I think we'll get it figured hopefully.
Yeah, I'm going OU on this one. To me, Auburn's just gonna have another layover from last week. Yeah. If you think Arkansas defense is good, man, hey, Brent got them boys playing. Yeah, I think Tony, y'all lost a safety last week, but it don't matter. You probably got a 5-star back.
Yeah, waiting to go, waiting in the wings.
Yeah. So, they can put whoever they want to at quarterback. The best bet is to run the ball. So I agree with Anthony on that. Hey, best bet: run the ball, play action on third down, try to get out of there without getting blown out for Auburn. So I'm going. I'm not thinking about the hurricane, but that's probably gonna hurt. So I'm thinking 35-14 OU on this one.
Well, and so like to piggyback, man, with what that defense is. You look at what Travis Williams and the Razorbacks defense did. Yeah. You talk about 5 turnovers, if I'm not mistaken, man. The way they turned that offense over, and there's still that instability offensively for Auburn. A defense like OU should be in a good place to where they are going to they're going to score a couple times themselves and make the load lighter for the offense and the new quarterback and everything. So easily I expect them to put up 28 points, and I expect them to hold Auburn under 20. So I'm saying 28-17 as well. We saw Auburn last week down on the plains, and if I'm not mistaken, this game is down on the plains as well. So I think that now that may play a factor, but I don't think it's going to play enough. But I'm interested to see that, and just moving from Auburn, Arkansas, and OU Auburn, man, just thinking about this is a big rivalry game for Arkansas, and they're coming off of not only a win in how well the defense played last week, but how well the defense played the week before, and doing enough to shut them down and bring the comeback full circle against UAB, a gamey UAB team. But this A&M team, they gave Notre Dame all they could handle. Mm-hmm. And this is not a bad team. They're full of talent. I think they've underachieved. And I believe that this, you throw the records out when these two get together, the old cliche, but I feel like Arkansas is going to be able to score as long as that defense can get pressure and force turnovers. I see them winning. I'll jump in first and say I see it close one. 24-21. I got the Razorbacks taking down A&M.
I think it comes down to, and I'm gonna be honest, I think it's all gonna come down to mechanics. So one of the biggest takeaways I took from watching that game last week, and the reason why he got benched, he couldn't get the ball down the field. Taylor Green could not get the ball down the field. And I'm sorry, you cannot win off pure athleticism. You can't. You cannot win a football game running the ball so much. You can't take those hits. Again, here we go down to taking hits. You take one wrong hit, and then we're starting Malachi. And what happened? We benched him. Now, granted, he came back. We benched him, and he throws the touchdown to Sategna. Here's my thing. That Sategna saved Taylor Green because that was a poorly thrown ball. That was a poorly thrown ball for that touchdown. That was so underneath. It was so behind him. And I have to give credit to where credit is. Auburn played really smart against Taylor. They were like, we're going to stop you from running. We're forcing you to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Let's just be honest.
Yep.
And when you're playing like that and you're playing against an SEC team, this is why I also wanted to go back to the Oklahoma. Welcome to the SEC, Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my thing. Welcome to the SEC. You got smacked in the mouth. Come back, and now it's time for you to show what you can do.
Yeah.
Arkansas, we are in the SEC, and we play. There are times we play like a really, look, we play straight edge football. Like if we play mistake free football, we win the game. Regardless. Against Oklahoma State, we didn't lose the game. We lost it ourselves. Yeah. Let's just be honest. Bonehead plays. We definitely won't be having that. We could be sitting here saying, "Hey, man, we're 4-0."
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But I feel like going into A&M, I feel like going into Jerry Jones. I'm glad this is the last year. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm glad this is the last year because it is not fair. I feel like it's not that technically it's not it's a rivalry game in Texas. You got more Texas fans there going root against Arkansas.
Yeah.
So it's technically a home game for A&M, so they have the better advantage. I honestly see, and I hate to say this, man, and I love my Razorbacks, but if Taylor Green does not show up, and here's my angry take. If Taylor Green does not show up and we have to turn around and put Malachi back in the game and we're relying too heavy on the run, we're losing this game. I say we lose it by 14.
That's the first Mr. Details angry hot take brought to you by Mr. Detail, the detail service. If you need your car clean, and the beauty of this is a mobile service, so he's coming to you. All you got to do is look him up on social media. That's Mr. Detail for the Mr. Detail angry hot take from the angry Puerto Rican.
Look, man, I'm sorry. I had to, man, but
I feel it. I feel it. I really do, because I think you're exactly right. If Taylor goes out there on the BS, it's gonna be a long day. So
man, look, your possession of the ball, and so possession of the ball, time of possession, those are that's really the key to Bobby's offense. And one of the things I think that's interesting is that you think about Petrino. If you studied him in the past, man, he is precise. One of the things that everybody's calling for him to be the head coach. I don't think it'll work because the man can't recruit. He can't recruit because nobody likes him. But the reason nobody likes him is because he's so meticulous and he doesn't even know how to be nice in his meticulousness. They talk about when he was the head coach, it was always the rumor around the yard was that, man, he would draw everything up to a T. He wanted to be on the bus at 8:37 and he wanted to be leaving at 8:40. And if they left at 8:39 or 8:41, he was furious. Because you had to be leaving at it, you had to be on time, and this is an offensive genius. You got to be on time with that slant route. You got to be on time with that out route. Otherwise, they don't jump that route and they're going the other way. And so you got to know that he is laying into Taylor Green every week. And it was actually good to see look, we got a standard that we have to maintain. So if you're not keeping up with that standard, I'm a Steelers fan. Mike Thomas say it all the time. The standard is a standard. And so, that's one of the things where you got to be on time. You got to be precise. You can't take risk like that if it's not a good risk or a good bet. And so you got to play clean ball. You got to play clean ball.
Yeah, he definitely got his welcome to the SEC moment. This is what you wanted. This is why you left Boise.
Yeah.
And
that's a good point. That's a heck of a
this
point,
what you wanted. You could have been over there, and I don't know. I'm a Boise fan. Tone know this. I've been rocking with Boise since 2000. But you wanted to stay over there in the Mountain West. I've been rocking with him.
Yeah,
like that.
And so you wanted this. So you know what I'm saying. You got to show up.
But to your point, I will say this. Let me give him his flowers. For everybody to see it. That man is a playmaker. I dare to invoke the name Cam Newton.
Yeah.
And we're talking about same size, 6'5", 230. Of course, Cam was 240, 250, but a fast, mobile guy who can make all the throws. But and the one thing Cam did that Taylor needs to learn to do, and Lamar had to learn it as well, is you got to protect the ball. But at the end of the day, the reason I bring these names up to talk about Taylor is when it's third and whatever, it could be 3rd and 6. He gonna get you 7. He gonna extend the play with his legs and find that receiver for that 7 or 8 yards. If it's 3rd and 3, he gonna run a linebacker over and go get that first down, man. And that type of playmaking ability is hard to find, and it's hard to let go of. So hopefully they can keep his focus on and put us in a good position.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just go ahead and get this one out the way. So I'm going with the Razorbacks. But I do think Anthony was right on this one. If he wake up on the BS, that's what's going to happen. But his playmaking ability is elite.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm going to go and say it. It's better than KJ's, and I'm a big KJ fan.
Yeah.
It's bigger than KJ's as far as playmaking ability. So when you got a quarterback like that can get out of the pocket real quick, real fast, and make something happen, you got to account for him on defense. Linebackers got to peep in. Safeties got to have their eyes on him. So I think that's going to be kind of what I think is going to happen as far as if we win. Long as he throws the ball to Armstrong on time, we're good. Because one thing I know about my boy Bobby, he gonna dial it up.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
He gotta put it where it need to go. He gonna dial it up. It's gonna be there.
Hey, speaking of the Armstrong thing, real quick before Tone you go, because I want to hear your take on the Razorback A&M. But watching Armstrong take that hit,
oh man,
yeah,
I think that was that, and it was such a legal. It was so legal.
Yeah,
and it was just like that. When you taking that hit like that and you come back, that's basically Mr. Reliable right there.
Yeah,
all right, come back, and I was like, oh man, I gasped when I seen that. I was like, there was nothing I could. There's nothing I could say. There's nothing I can do. I literally was like, oh my god, that was a hellacious hit.
Yeah, it was bad.
And for that dude, Champ Anthony, 2 plays later, he's off the field, and I'm like, okay, what really happened? Like, did you have a concussion because you hit him so hard that your body was like, for 2 plays, it's like, I got that adrenaline. That adrenaline wore off, and it was like, all right, I give up. Your body, you need to leave.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like and shout out to Champ Anthony because honestly, that was a really really good hit. It was legal. At first they were trying to say it was targeting, and Bobby was on the field. You see Bobby on the field, and he's like, "This is targeting. It's targeting." No, that's not targeting. Yeah. That was not targeting at all. That was a legal hit, and I think a lot of players need to look at that when we're talking about stuff, about hitting. And he wasn't a defensive receiver. Mm-hmm. He literally was going for the ball. Now, if he wasn't going for the ball, then I'd say, okay, maybe that was targeting. But he literally had the ball going into his hands, and he just got the dog smacked out of him.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I love clean hits like that.
Go ahead, Tone.
No, it was definitely a clean hit. Just going back on that take about the game, man. I think I think you really gonna have to rely on the running game in this point. Taylor, his athletic ability is second to none in this league, right? The one thing I definitely feel is going to be a key factor in this is, again, I said, it's going to be an Auburn game. Use his legs, use his mobility. I think Blocker kind of alluded to it. One thing about him is that, if it comes to 3rd and 6, he's going to get you 7, right? He's going to get you, he's a playmaker. And so he's going to be able to make those plays. I feel like you got to be able to, as a run game, take some of that pressure off of him. One thing I have too, and Jam and I discussed on our podcast, is it didn't be, I wasn't alarmed with it in the UAB game, right? But then it kind of scared last week in the all his inability to be accurate. That's one thing that alarmed me. And again, I wasn't so alarmed at it, in the UAB game. I'm thinking, okay, it was just a one-off game, had a bad game. But then to follow that back, still have
do it again,
still do it. So now I'm really starting to wonder if that's more of an issue than I thought it was going to be, right? And so I think taking some of the pressure off him, being able to run the ball, you got a solid back in Jaquinian, utilize him run game, take some of that pressure off Taylor.
Yeah,
it's going to be and again, I look for the Razorbacks to get off to a hot start in SEC play. I'm giving the Hogs a chance in this one. Defensively, number 3, what is it?
My guy. We finally got some
Story.
No,
We got some D-backs, guys.
Slaughter.
Yeah,
he's an animal. He's an animal.
So I think look for Arkansas's defense to rise up in this game too. I'm going 24-21 Hogs.
Okay.
So, I'm glad you said something about the defense real quick. I'm really glad you said that, because it's just, we sitting here talking about defense. You know a name that we haven't talked about in 4 weeks? Landon Jackson.
Yeah.
We have not talked about Landon Jackson at all. Where has he been?
To his defense.
Okay.
So I watched the UAB game. I watched the Oklahoma State game, and I watched the game last week. Man, so Oklahoma State, 3 seconds, that ball gone.
Out of there.
But now it comes to the point where, okay, you just can't line them up on that left tackle and just say, hey, go get him. You got to do something.
Move him over. Move him to the other side. Move him inside.
To the other side, do something, because he's getting back there, but he's not been able to get to the quarterback, but he's making him throw the ball a lot faster than what a lot of quarterbacks want to, from what I've seen. And everybody on the other side, they're eating, but I need you to eat more, and I need you to move Landon just a little bit. Yeah. Right now, I know where he's going to be. I can game plan that all day.
Yeah, we'll sit tight in the chip.
We got to move him.
Yeah.
Like you said, we got to move him. He can't be on the right side. He got to be on that left side. He's got to be able to be diverse and move from side to side. He can't play left end. On one play, you need to move around. You see the way they
think about Myles Garrett. And he's got a similar frame. He's 6'7", 270. He's a big, long guy. Not quite as fast, but I think in that short burst area, he has that ability. So you can slide him inside, and you can get some outside linebackers, and you can dial up some pressure. And I believe that Travis Williams will do it, man. I like what I've seen from him. Honestly, most of the season, he's been creative in the way that he's bringing that pressure. But it's the old adage with your outside rusher. You look at some of these names around the country. Can the other side of you be able to win their one-on-ones? Can the D tackles win their one-on-ones? Can you bring pressure to where they can't just key on Landon Jackson and say, we gotta stop him, and then that's gonna help your whole, then the rest of the offensive line works around it. Yeah. Oh boy, I thought you failed for a second. I got nervous.
My phone failed.
Okay, just the phone. All right.
Oh my God, it scared me.
Woo! All right. Man. I was like, oh no, he passed out on the show, God.
Wow. I'm not lying. Man.
Hey, my man went down.
Man, dude, I thought it scared me. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. My bad. I was moving too much and made your phone fall. That's my fault. So look, man, we got one more big game And this is my favorite thing about what's happening with the 16 teams in the league.
Yes.
First of all, my favorite thing is that Arkansas don't have to play Georgia or Alabama. And
man, you loving it too? Oh my God. I was like,
hey,
so,
that's why
I'm loving it.
More important for them at this point.
Yeah.
You got to win every game you can win, because in the SEC, man, like, there's not a gimme. You know, Mississippi State and Vanderbilt it will come out and beat you just as badly if you're not focused and ready. As you gotta treat everybody like the number 10 team in the country.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, you're gonna play the number 10 team in the country. So, you know what I mean? Like that's the way the mindset you gotta have in this conference, man. And it's amazing. We think about this a lot, man. You know, Bielema's in Illinois, and oh, by the way, did I mention? Did I mention that Illinois went into Lincoln Memorial Stadium and left with a dub?
Come on, bro. Like, why you gotta do that to me, man? Like, yo, man, he made this real. He made this real, and I made this take, and I said, man, Nebraska's gonna eat. Man, they're gonna eat a bunch of corn. Man, they gonna eat. Man, look.
Anyways.
Look, okay, great call. Okay, I give you that.
So Bielema caught a lot of flack for losing to Toledo, which had Kareem Hunt, and Texas Tech that had Pat Mahomes, who turned out to be part of the most efficient offenses in the National Football League. He also played like, I want to say there was one year where he played like 7 top 10 teams. Everybody, like 7 teams were in the top 10 when he played them. Like, this is the SEC.
Yeah.
You are going to face the top talent, the best players, you know, the religion of football every week. So, you know, so to get the opportunity to not have to face the top 2 of the top 5 teams in the conference is a blessing for us. And I think we'll get 6 wins because we don't have to play either of these 2 teams, and we always sneak one against LSU, and we got them at home too. So we definitely we should be okay. But man, these 2 teams, this is the cream of the crop. When I see these 2, when people pick these 2 teams on NCAA football, I immediately assume you're not good because you got the best 2 teams on the game. These are the best 2 teams in the nation. This is the national championship to me. I know that Texas is going to play a factor in there. I know that you know, Michigan's going to be really good. You know, USC is really good. But at the end of the day, these are the 2 teams that I'm most concerned about. These are the 2 teams I want to build my program like. And you know, this is going to be as a what does Jerry say? A slobber knocker. A slobber knocker, man. Like I don't know, physical defenses, physical running styles, you know, quarterbacks that are established, and you know, they're saying Carson Beck is one of the best in the nation. You know, Milroe as well. Talk to me. Tell me what you seeing, Jeremy. I'm gonna let you go first, man. Tell me your thoughts.
So I'm not drinking the Carson Beck Kool-Aid.
All right, good.
I am not drinking it.
Okay.
He looks good.
Sure.
I am not drinking the Carson Beck Kool-Aid. I am not doing it.
Ant had to take his glasses off so he can hear you better.
I'm not doing it. Hey, so wow, hey, Locker, you remember Coach what's his name? Green?
Yeah.
They are who we thought they were?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I feel about Carson Beck right
hey,
now.
Man, he's exactly who we thought he was.
If you want to crown him. But we had him. Let him off the hook. But I feel the Bama defense is better than this Georgia offense.
Yeah.
I truly do.
And that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, if you line Alabama's offense up against Georgia's defense, again, we talk about a mobile quarterback that can get out of there. And y'all remember last year? Was it last year?
It was last year.
Yeah, he scooted out on us. I mean, he got out of there. I said, man, this boy should be a running back because ain't no way he can throw the ball and be that fast. That's impossible. So that's why I got to pick Alabama, number 4 over Georgia. Man, I'm going tight on this one. I'm going 28-24.
Ooh.
Bama.
Ooh.
Bama's opening it up, man. You know what I'm saying? The new coach there came from Washington. What's his name?
Kalen DeBoer, yeah.
Yeah. Man, he's opened that thing up, which is what Miro needed the whole time.
That's right.
Open it up. And so I think he gave a little bit more freedom, and I think Alabama's going to pull it out.
One of the things I just want to jump in before you go, Tone. You talk about it, man. One of the things that's interesting, and we heard this all last year and for a while with Milroe about. Remember when there was all this talk about, they sat him down and they were wondering, there was a quarterback competition, and they treated Milroe like he was a running back that could throw the ball, as you said, and they didn't want to. So much of this offense of football is about if somebody believes in you and can set up a system around your skill set. It's good to see that DeBoer is coming in and opening it up and letting Milroe be Milroe. That's what has made them so much better this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tone, tell me what you're thinking, man.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think Georgia is the Georgia that we've seen in the past. You look at the Clemson game. It's Clemson, right? They got off to a slow start game against Clemson. You fast forward, you go to Kentucky, and granted, Georgia a couple of times they played Kentucky. Kentucky has
been close,
been tough, especially in left, right?
Right.
My thing with that is Georgia just don't. I don't know. They come out flat in the first half. And then they try to speed you up in the second half, and I think that's what you don't have. You're not going to have the luxury to do that this Saturday night down in Tulsa.
Exactly what I was thinking.
and especially with that offense, with that Alabama offense clicking as good as they are starting to click right now, it would. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. They beat by 7 points to lead.
Wow. The Mr. Detail hot take from Tone.
I'll tell you.
I'm going 31-24. I'm taking Bama in this one. I just think it's going to be the fact. I think if Georgia gets off to a slow start, as they have proven the first three games of the season that I've seen, I think it's going to be a tough fight to try to come back from
in the second half. So Ant, did you eat one of them peppers that you make your salsa with?
Man, I don't know. Man, I could tell that this is why they got run your mouth, because that's all they were doing just now was just running that mouth. I'm sorry. I'm taking Georgia. There is no way. I'm sorry. Look. Oh man, the dog even believes me.
He got up to tell you might be right. Okay.
Look, man, I just want to say this. Look, Carson Beck is he's a top 3 quarterback. Basically right now. From what I've seen, the guy can throw the ball. They had a really good opening week 1 against Clemson. I think they won 34-3. But tell you this right now, look. Georgia is the thing of the game right now. Their spread, it's only a -2.
Yeah.
So y'all are saying it's going to be a high scoring game. I'm honestly believing, and I'm just being honest with you, I really believe it's going to be like a really tight knit game. Like it's going to be like what it was last year. I think somewhere we're going to see something where it's like a 1-point, 2-point game. I say 25-24, 24-23 Georgia. And that's just me taking that. I think it's going to come down. They're a mirror of each other. Both teams are a mirror of each other. Mm-hmm. They both do everything well on defense. They're coached really well. Yeah. They're also, they have 2 good running backs. They got Ryan Williams from Alabama. He that rookie. Oh my, that freshman. He's a dog.
He's a dog. He's a dog.
No doubt.
So I'm honestly, it's going to come down to who has the fewest turnovers, and I believe Georgia's coming off 2. Just remember, Georgia's coming off 2. This is going to be 3.
Yeah.
So this is dynasty we watching in Georgia. I don't see them. I know they playing in Alabama. It's gonna be really, really loud. We already know how loud that's gonna be.
Oh yeah.
I messaged Blocker. And I was like, yo. I was watching the game and I was like, yo, it's loud. Like you can't hear nothing. Man, let's just put it this way. I really believe it's gonna be an X Factor. It's gonna be a lot to do.
TV, you can hear it. Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead, Tom.
Blocker, before you go, Blocker, let me ask you a quick question, guys. So I believe both of these teams are coming off of bye weeks.
Yes, they are.
How do you think the preparation given for both of these coaches is going to factor into this one? Because obviously, I'm sure it's a lot of stuff that neither one of these teams have wanted to put on tape. Game, and it's going to be the first SEC matchup for both schools. How do you think preparation is going to factor into this?
So the one thing we know for a fact is that Kirby Smart off a bye week is, he's almost perfect off a bye week. And when you give him that extra week, he's one of the smartest minds in college football today. One in active sports, he's one of the smartest minds in college football. So I'm with you. I believe that off the bye week, that could be and that's a great point you brought up, that could be a factor for Georgia as opposed to Alabama. Kalen DeBoer is a offensive genius though, and you give him 10 plus days to study your team and how to break down your defense, every weakness. I think that he's going to definitely deploy Milroe and Williams and that group in ways that they certainly haven't shown on film yet, but that Georgia may not see the rest of the season. The only reason I still go with Bama over Georgia is because it comes down to the Jimmies and Joes. And if you ask me, I just gotta believe that Alabama this year has the better players, especially when you start matching up offense to defense versus defense to offense. I believe that Alabama's offense will be able to compete with Georgia's defense, whereas I don't know that Georgia's offense is going to stick. And I could be wrong because I don't.
Who's stopping Mikael Williams on that Georgia defensive line? Please tell me that. Who's stopping Mikael Williams?
They put 11 on the field for a reason, and I think that
you say you put 11 on the field, but you remember I remember I know both y'all remember this guy. God, he was a stud in college.
Yeah,
stud in the NFL, still plays. Jadeveon Clowney. Yeah. That man was a one-man wrecking crew. It didn't matter if he had 10 other people, you couldn't guard Jadeveon Clowney. So let's just keep it real. I'm not saying Mikael Williams is that dude, but he's got that. He's got that bite. He's got that bark too. So I mean, there's no telling what kind of game you're gonna get from him. And like I said, it's all gonna come down to turnovers. I think everybody who spoke, I think we all have great ideas on how this game's gonna be. Right. I think it's going to come down to the X factor, how loud that crowd is, and the minimal mistakes that Alabama makes in order for them to win this game. Now, but Georgia's used to it, though.
This was in Tuscaloosa.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So it's going to be mistake. They have the crowd behind them. It's going to be mistake-free football for them to win this game because Georgia is used to playing in big, in big stadiums like this.
I'm sold on the idea. And I think it will be. It's gonna be. Look, one thing I can tell you is, like I said, to start this out, I tell you, it's gonna be a slobber knocker. I've got no questions about that. This is gonna be a back and forth. Might be, what they call it, the instant classics. And look, it could be going either way because again, we talk a lot about Carson Beck and the offense of Georgia and Milroe and the offense of Alabama and all the pieces and X's and O's and chess moves that are going to be made. We can't forget about these defenses, like you say, and Georgia does have some studs, and so does Alabama. So it could. Don't be surprised if it's like LSU in Alabama. What was that? 15 years ago when that game was the national championship was 9-6. You know what I mean? Like it. I wouldn't be shocked if you tell me that that's what would happen. I wouldn't be shocked about that either. That's the way these types of teams are. You're looking at, because everybody, that whole coaching staff get a paycheck, and they do it with purpose. So they bring in these big time players with purpose. So they're gonna come out with on their mind. They're thinking about the idea of making these big plays and stopping these offenses just as much as we expect the offenses to come out and play.
Yeah.
See, your dog literally is with the Bulldogs. So, man, your house is divided right now. Your house divided.
But they, yeah, man, that's a big deal, man. It's gonna be some defensive fireworks and some offensive fireworks. And if I think the first team that gets the takeaway, that's the team that's gonna probably win the game because it's gonna be that tight of game.
To your point, I think it's definitely going to come down to who can win the turnover battle, right? Who's going to come out on the plus side of the turnover battle?
Yeah. And
if who take care of the ball, I think that's who's going to end up winning. Again, I'm standing on that 31-24 Bama.
I like it. So look, man, before we take a quick break, I want to get into because this week is going to be a fun week for football, and I didn't even think about or get into. Actually, I don't know if Colorado actually is playing this week, but
yep.
They are.
They got who?
Yeah, Central Florida. They're going to take on AJ.
Ooh, in Orlando. Yeah, that's going to be a game, man. But I picked out 3 games that I think are going to be that I found pretty interesting. The first one is out of the gate. It's 23. The number 23 Kansas State brings in, Oklahoma State, a team we saw, the number 20 team in the nation. Tell me a little bit about what you've seen, Tone, and quickly tell me your pick.
Just real quick, my pick in this one, I'm going Kansas State, and the reason why is, for one, K-State is coming off of just an embarrassing blowout loss last week in Utah at the hands of BYU. I think they lost 38-9. Didn't play very well, so I look for them to have a bounce back game, especially being back home in the Little Apple. The one thing to me in this game, guys, is Oklahoma State. Now, their defense gave up 250 yards on the ground, and then, of course, another 207 in the air last week again. So, but even with all that aside, the biggest thing for me is, where is Allie Gordon being? Like, he seemed like he has just completely just gone MIA.
Disappeared.
Carton right now. So I think until they're able to figure out what's going on with him, get him more involved in the running game, I'm taking K-State in a bounce back game at home.
What you got, Ant?
Man, I'm actually following Tone on that, man. I got K-State. Honestly, both teams benched their quarterback.
Yeah.
And so that says a lot about what's going on offensively, for both programs. And I think a lot has to do with the offensive line. As you were saying, Tone, that offensive line, I think for OK State, it's not giving them an opportunity. And don't get me wrong, if K-State can stop the pass, they got no choice but to try to run that ball. Here's the thing. They both have similarities on defense. Offensively, you got technically a guy who's supposed to be before the season kicked off.
Yeah.
Ollie Gordon he's talking to Heisman.
Heisman talk.
Yeah. And he's only averaging, 3.1 yards a game. That's not the typical Ollie Gordon, but that's because they're losing guys. They lost guys on the on that offensive line. I take K-State, man. I take K-State. I think Bowman. I just don't think he's got enough fight in him to do what everybody expects a number 20 team to do. I think this is gonna be a really great game. But I honestly see K-State beating them.
All right, so I'm going against both of y'all, and I'm saying that they're going to get back to what they were doing last year, which was feeding Ollie Gordon the ball. You saw it, the first week against us, against the Razorbacks. You kept wondering when they were going to start giving him the ball, and when they did start giving him the ball, that's when Oklahoma State started scoring at a higher clip against us. Because for up until that point, our defense had locked them up and kind of made it to where, they kept putting them in third and longs where you don't get the opportunity to run it. I believe that eventually, or that this is the week, and especially you're doing it on the road. That's how you win on the road. That's how you quiet the crowd. That's how you manage time of possession. I got Ollie Gordon going over 150 yards, over 150 yards and to dominate. I'll say offensively he dominates, but it still is a close game. Oklahoma State beats Kansas State. So, yeah, go ahead.
150 yards rushing, or is that
is that total yards?
Yeah, total yards.
Total yards.
Okay, because I'm going to say rushing.
That's what I was kind of wondering. I'm like, boy, that's
See, but you gotta understand something though, yo, Tone. If you ever get a chance to listen, Black has got these crazy takes. He's got the Steeler mentality. He's got, he's a Clipper fan. He's a Kansas City Royal fan. These are things that have hit him hit him here. I think he's got a little post-traumatic stress going on from previous years. So I think this happens. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry you're witnessing, but at least I got somebody as a witness.
Yeah, it's all right. Y'all gonna see. So, all right, next is Louisville going into South Bend to face Notre Dame. Now, we haven't heard, very loudly from Notre Dame since they lost to Northern Illinois. And I will say that Louisville has been, actually, if you got the chance to watch them, they've been pretty impressive in the games that they've won this season. I'm gonna let you get first stabs at Louisville versus Notre Dame.
Well, look, I'm not sold on Notre Dame. I don't think they should have been ranked as high as they were. Here we go back to me talking about ranks. I believe ranks are a cancer to a program. And we've watched it. Like, we've literally watched it. We've watched
look right down there in Tallahassee. It'll tell you everything you need to know about preseason ranks.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, I feel like it's a cancer to a program. I really do.
It's the pressure you got to live up to.
Man, I'm going straight forward, man. I'm gonna say Louisville wins this, and I think they win them by they win. They win. It's gonna be 14 points.
Wow.
I say 31-17.
Okay.
Tell me, Tone, what you think?
Man, I'm actually going just right off the rap, man. I'm going Notre Dame. They're at home, which I obviously a couple weeks ago, Northern Illinois,
South Bend, yeah.
That wasn't much of a thing. But just looking at the Louisville Georgia Tech game last week, who they played, Tyler quarterback, he came in, threw for 269 yards, threw 2 touchdowns, no interceptions to go with that. The one thing that concerns me with Louisville, they only rushed for 57 yards the entire game. So that's the one thing. And then, of course, they weren't very efficient on third down. So I think that's one thing. They only, if I'm looking right, I believe they only converted 2 of 9 out of 2 on third down. So that's one thing that concerns me.
That's not winning football.
Yeah.
No, and I get where you're coming from, Tom, and you're right. You know what I mean? But I see a bounce back. I really do. I see a bounce back from Louisville, man. I really do. I do see a bounce back from Louisville. And again, I don't trust Notre Dame. I don't trust anything. You paid how much to lose? I'm sorry. I'm okay with that.
1.4 mil. So I'll say this. As much as I like to root for Notre Dame because of their head coach, I can't. I'm with you. I can't trust what I think is going to happen in Notre Dame. That is a hard road venue. They're going to be ecstatic. And this is we can say that Notre Dame overlooked you and I. And maybe they did, and maybe they'll be focused and ready. But until I see otherwise, because I mean they barely escaped from A&M, then they go and get cooked by you and I the next week. Man, I gotta go with Louisville. They're the more trustworthy team in this one. Now I think it's gonna be close, and I call it. I'm gonna call it low scoring. As a matter of fact, 17-14. I think it's gonna be a defensive pitcher's battle, if you will. And I think it's gonna be a back and forth. There's like you said, Tone, when you look at the inefficiency on third down, those weighty downs, as Mike Tomlin talks about, man, you got to be able to win those. But right. I trust that Louisville's defense is going to get off the field when they need to more than Notre Dame.
I think for me the X factor is Riley Leonard. I think he's going to have to play. He's going to have to play at a high level. He's going to have his decision making. Definitely have to be there. I think his progressions. He's going to definitely have to go through his progressions quick. Get rid of the football. If he can protect the football, if he can keep the ball out of harm's way, I'm taking Notre Dame. I'm gonna go with this one. I think it's gonna definitely be a defensive battle.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 23-19 Notre Dame.
23-19. I like that. I like that a lot, man. So last game for the quick pick 'em. Now this is an interesting one, because Clemson is number 17, but we haven't. This isn't Clemson from 5 years ago, right? Clearly, Georgia made that clear out of the gate. But they're a good team. This ball game is in South Carolina at Clemson. They're gonna come out, rub Howard's Rock, and all the tradition. But I feel like Stanford has the ability to sneak up and make this a game. I'm not ready to pick them, but I think it's going to be a much closer game. I am going to take the Stanford laying the points. I do believe that they will cover, and it's going to be a much closer game than most people are expecting to be, because offensively, Stanford can go. They can go. I still got Clemson in a shootout, a double overtime, 38-35 or 38-36. Barn burner. But I think this is going to be a really close game, and I think a lot of people are going to be shocked with it. Tone, tell me what you're thinking with Stanford versus at Clemson.
Man, first of all, this is a weird game to even look at, considering their ACC, conference.
Times are changing, man.
The landscape of college football has definitely changed, right? But for me, I don't think Stanford has really gone into a stadium quite like what they're going to go into Saturday night game, 6 p.m. kickoff.
Yeah.
In Clemson.
Prime time.
So, yeah, prime time. I think the only team that they probably might resemble from a stadium like that, maybe Autzen Stadium in Oregon. But going to a venue like this, man, Death Valley, I'm taking Clemson. I'm taking 27-16. I'm going Clemson.
Okay. All right, what you got, Ant?
Man, look, if we're looking at what Clemson and Stanford, as you said, Stanford's never played in a stadium like this. And granted, Glocka, you did say Clemson hasn't been the same team as like 5 years ago. Yeah. But you know what they are doing? They're ranked 18th in yards per game.
Really now? Yeah.
437 yards a game passing. If I'm not mistaken, all total yards. There's 437. Total. Now, if you're looking at it, Stanford gives up 278 to 280 yards passing. That's just passing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The over under I think is like 55.5. I'm going over, and I'm saying that the game is going to be beat. Stanford's definitely going to get beat by over 23 points, because the spread on that is 22.5. And I'm definitely taking Clemson on that to cover that. I'm taking Clemson to cover over more than 22.5. I think it's going to be they can't score. Stanford has proven they can score against other teams, but this is a team in a stadium they have never played in.
Yeah.
And you're giving up so many yards passing. I'm sorry, and these guys throw the ball. Clemson throws the ball. Clemson also runs the ball. So let's just put
that Klubnik is an outstanding quarterback, and let's not take anything away from what he does, man. He's a baller. He's definitely a baller. So look, man, we got Tone here, man. It was great to have Jeremy as well for the first hour of the joint podcast of the Fanatic Sports Podcast and Run Your Mouth Podcast. And one of the cool things, man, that I'm so excited for us to get the opportunity to do is we get to work with some of the really awesome businesses in the region. And that's something that, I try not to toot my own horn on the things that we do, but we do get to work not just in Arkansas, but all around the region with different businesses here in the South and the Delta, from Texas and we're in works with partnerships from Texas all the way to Georgia, man. But we will start our most important sponsor. Our very first sponsor is homegrown, just like it's salsa. I want to take the time to let everybody know about the best salsa in all of America. That's Angry Salsa. And talk to us.
Hey, look, man, I appreciate it. Look, man, to be honest with you, it wouldn't be angry, man. It wouldn't be angry if there wasn't an angry Puerto Rican behind it, man. So let's get when you're ready to get your taste buds ignited by Angry Salsa, do me a favor, hit me up. I'm on all platforms. You hit me up. I got mild, I got spicy, I got pineapple mango, and I got a thing called Devil's Breath for all you people in these crazy angry takes. All right. This isn't your ordinary salsa. It's packed with fiery flavor that will keep you on the edge of your seat, whether you're cheering for your team or just snacking while watching a game. Angry Salsa will add a spicy kick to your game day experience. So grab a jar of Angry Salsa and take your taste buds on an exhilarating ride. Angry Salsa, fueling the fire of flavor. Become a happy, angry customer today by contacting your very own angry Puerto Rican, Anthony Roman. And you could be a happy, angry customer today.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Look, it's the Joint Podcast. Today, we got my man Antonio from the RunYaMouf podcast. We had Big Worm, Jeremy on for a bit, man. It's been a blast talking college football with Tone and, of course, the angry Puerto Rican Anthony. And now we're about to move into the pro football. And speaking of pros, I got to give a shout out to the product specialist down at the Astro Ford, Leticia Talamontes, my good friend. So excited to have her as one of our partners. Look, if you're in the mood or in the need for upgrading your ride, you're in luck. She's got the inside scoop on the best cars. As one of the best car salespeople in town, Leticia at Astro Ford in D'Iberville is the go-to person to talk to about your car buying needs, whether you're in the market for a sleek sedan or a reliable SUV. Leticia's got you covered with a friendly smile, a knowledgeable expert, and she'll make sure that you drive off the lot in style. So why wait? Don't wait. Don't hesitate. We talked about the timing. If you're too early or too late, you might miss a great deal. Head down to Astro Ford. Ask for Leticia today. You be glad you did it, man. Give her a call first if you can't. Head down there right now, 228-275-FORD. That's 228-275-3673. Or you can stop by the 10350 Auto Mall Parkway in D'Iberville. See Leticia Talamontes at Astro Ford in D'Iberville today. So, man, oh, shoot, my fault. So, look, man, I can tell you going into, he went and did it. Shout out, Blue, my man. The angry Puerto Rican with the costume change. Man, listen, that's
just because, man.
That's fantastic. But look, I can't even hate you. I can't even hate you because at the end of the day, there's what the Commanders have done is everything that they've had the pieces in place for a while. Okay. Rest in peace to a real one, man. They've had
Sean Taylor, baby. Sean Taylor.
They've had the pieces in place for a while. For a few years, I've been seeing the Commanders with some outstanding skill players, eligibles that could make some plays, and all they needed was a quarterback. All they needed was a quarterback. And man, did they go and find one. Man, did they go and find one. And so, look, after 3 games, I think it's too early to ask the question, but I think at some point there will be a conversation. For the second year in a row, is the number 2 quarterback the best quarterback in the draft? Is the number 2 quarterback the best quarterback in the draft? Because I mean, what he's done, and I can say it now. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it when he was here. 2 years he was here, but I mean, the kid can ball. He can run it. He can throw it. I mean, like he makes moves. He always makes the right read. He even takes big hits, and he does a good job of absorbing those big hits to where they don't just pop. You know, he doesn't get injured too often. Knock on whatever my desk is made of. He doesn't get injured too often, and so it's been fun to watch what he's doing. So, Ant, this is your favorite team. You tell me about what you saw in week 3 in front of the entire world. Was it coming out party or what?
You basically watch the Rookie of the Year. You basically watch the Rookie of the Year. Man, my man went 21 for 23. He had more touchdowns than incompletions. Look, he had more touchdowns than incompletions.
The man was on fire, but
his presence, though, man, his presence on the field. And you said having a quarterback. No, I did tell you it's still a rebuilding stage.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I told you, and I really believe this. I really still believe this. I am a Washington fan. I still don't think we get over that hump this year. I still think we miss the playoffs.
Sure.
Our defense is not there. You gave up over 350 yards passing to Joe Burrow. Over 100 yards receiving to Jamar Chase. Defense needs to step up. I like San-Juice. I think he's a phenomenal cornerback that we picked up. I love his game. I love his physicality, man, courage. And that's a big thing to me. That is a huge, huge thing for me. Is that we have a guy that can play, man to man and lock down that one receiver. We didn't show that because we played a lot of zone in that. We didn't have, that's the thing. We can't rely on our front 7 all the time, and that's what happened. We got beat because of that. Downfield. There's a lot of plays that made me wonder while I was watching that game. It made me just like, wow, man. I was kind of glad that like Daniels was like, nah, man, we need to go for it. We got to go for it. Let's go. And I feel like the trust with Dan Quinn and a rookie quarterback, that says a lot about your I guess your thought process on having trust and loyalty into a quarterback. And that
it goes into the relationship of them.
Man, that play to Zach Ertz, they were it was 4th and 4, no, 4th and 6, and he gets 9 yards.
Yeah.
It's a little tight, tight in, from the tight end, Zach Ertz. He completes it, and next thing you know, he looks like a genius. But that goes on the fact that the players on offense trust Jaden Daniels. What I seen right there is, where are the Bengals?
So let me ask you something. And I'm gonna step away from, I know we're talking about our favorite teams and what they've done in week 3. And look, as a Steelers fan, I'm happy to see anybody in the AFC North outside of Pittsburgh going down 0-3. I'm all for it. Especially when, I was sharing some memes earlier this week about how everybody picked us to be 3rd or last. And, when it's my turn, I'll talk a little bit more about our division. But one thing, I got a friend, shout out my homie, LL Cool James. We went back and forth about this 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, man. You remember that draft, right? So they go and they get Jamar Chase, and you said it, man. They threw for 353 yards, and he's had a dominant couple years. His rookie year, he came out and caught for 1,400 yards, just an absurd number of stats and things like that. But if we go into the future and we look at this team now, 0-3, having had slow starts, they still continue they struggle to protect their quarterback of the franchise and Joe Burrow. Yes, he went to the Super Bowl, but it's been slow starts for him each year, other than one when they went to the Super Bowl, I think it was. And
even then that year,
they started
even
0-2
that year
year
they started 0-2.
Yeah. So I asked the question. I said, if you got T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, and those two both went for 1,000 yards the same year that Jamar Chase went for 1,400, and they went to the Super Bowl. If you go out and you get a Penei Sewell or a Rashawn Slater, I believe is the top tier tackle that was in that draft that you would have expected them to go get to protect their quarterback, who, if I'm not mistaken, was coming off an injury that year. He was coming off an injury the year that they went and got Jamar Chase. And yes, Jamar Chase has been an X-factor receiver. He's been a top-notch receiver. He's had big yards. He's off to a good start this year as well. But you struggle to protect your quarterback. The Bengals, they have T. Higgins who was frustrated most of his offseason, and he's back and now he's hurt, and there's all this talk of, is he faking it, things like that. Does he want to be here? Does he want to be in Cincinnati? Tyler Boyd's gone. Tyler Boyd's in Nashville now, right? Because he wanted to be a feature receiver, and ironically, it didn't happen there. He's still number 3 in with Tennessee, but he wanted to go be. He didn't stay around because you went and drafted Jamar Chase instead of getting somebody that can protect your quarterback. Oh, by the way, if we're going to talk about, yes, they made it to the Super Bowl, the play that cost them the Super Bowl was that Aaron Donald that got it in his mind that nobody was going to block him. And I'm not saying that a rookie tackle would have blocked him, but you have a rookie tackle who Rashawn Slater would have blocked him or done enough to allow you to gear your defensive line to Aaron Donald. And on that play where Aaron Donald makes that sack, T. Higgins had burnt Jalen Ramsey for a third time, and it would have been another score. So the question I'm asking through all of this is, how much more, where would the Bengals be if they go and get an offensive tackle instead of Jamar Chase? Your thoughts real quick, if you think.
Tone, I'll let you take this one, man.
Okay.
Just to kind of chime in on that, I mean, it really does bring up a good question. Block, as far as where would they be now? Have they made that decision, right?
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, I still probably would have gone with Chase.
Okay. All right.
I would have. Me personally, I probably would have gone with Chase. You got to find a dynamic playmaker.
He's a dynamic playmaker.
And so I do like that. I do like that pickup. Maybe the thought process. Okay, let's go ahead and grab Chase now. Maybe we try to addressing the offensive help, offensive line help a little bit further down into the draft or whatnot. But yeah, if Jamar Chase was there and I was up getting ready to come up and take the pick, yeah, I'm going with Chase. I want to go with that playmaker.
It's the type of guy, and look, I can't argue with it because, I mean, Chase is a bad man, and the line is something. Not that you can replace first round talent. It's just I look at so like I said, Penei Sewell and Rashawn Slater were the tackles that were in that were the first round tackles that I thought that the Bengals were going to go get. You look at that Chargers offensive line and how good they are, and look what they're doing with, man, J.K. Dobbins. When they signed J.K. Dobbins in San Diego, in Los Angeles, man, I laughed for 3 minutes because I turned blue as black as I am, because I was like, man, this dude he's running on half a kneecap. Ain't no way. And then he comes out and he's already got almost 300 yards.
It's almost like a resurgence in his career. He went to LA and out there with again with Jim Harbaugh, getting a chance to kind of get a second chance.
And that offensive line has opened up some gashes, and he gashed us. Now the Steelers did shut him down, and again we'll get to this in a little bit. But the Steelers did shut him down. But eventually, he hit some spots with it. That offensive line is good. Same thing, man. Look, Detroit is potent.
I got
Detroit
three.
Is potent.
Okay? I got 3 takes on this Bengals.
Okay, tell me what you got.
One, you need to you should have in the offseason, And Jamar Chase is showing you that right now. You should have paid that man.
Yep.
I don't care what anybody says. Should have paid that man.
Yeah, he's worth it. He's
and
definitely worth it.
He's proving right now why he is worth that money. He wanted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two. I'm sorry, but when you lose Joe Mixon,
Yep.
to Houston, that hurts you in the run game because now you don't have a run game.
Yeah, and they don't. It's non-existent. That's why they threw 360.
And so that's why they're throwing the ball so much. So that's two. Here's three. Here's the third one. And this is what comes down to. I love that you both said. I love that you both said, the offensive line and things like that. You can't protect things. I get that. I think my biggest issue is they were kind of, and I said this a couple of weeks ago about Buffalo, and maybe their time is all out.
Right.
Buffalo don't look like that. And I'll just say that. Buffalo don't look like that. The Bengals look like that team that I was talking about, where their time is over. Where I feel like their time.
Yeah.
I feel like if they don't go and pick up if they really want to, and it's the thing that's crazy. If they really want to make it into the playoffs, which an 0-3 team making the playoffs is very hard to do in the NFL nowadays.
Single digit percentage.
If they really want to salvage face, and this is being honest with you, I think if they really want to salvage face for their team and their organization, they need to go make it go get in the free agency this year and go get a couple guys to block for Joe Burrow, or it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. What's happening and it's tough because Zach White, I believe his last name is the head coach. He's a good coach. I've seen him.
Well, for the Bengals, it's Zach Taylor.
Taylor. Zach Taylor is a good offensive mind, and what I've seen him do with less than talent when Burrow would go out is actually kind of impressive. To me, I'm of the mindset that you're right. They got to find pieces to make this work for Joe Burrow. And what's scary is you might be in a place where you got to let T. Higgins walk, and then you go find other receivers. And there are some other playmakers that can go in. I don't know if they're quite as good as T. Higgins yet, but they got some. You can go find pieces, but you got to find some. You got to get that offensive line together so that you can continue to protect Joe Burrow. So that's a big thing. That's a huge thing, man. But I think that when you look at the NFC North, or excuse me, the AFC North, the neighborhood is dangerous, bro. Let's be real.
That's true.
And I'm not just telling you this because I'm a Steelers fan. I'm telling you this because as a Steelers fan, I know what we have to go through, man. And I'll tell you, like, the Browns are no slouch just because they're at the bottom of the division. They're not a slouch. There's some pieces there. They've made some really that offense should be much better. And Stepnowski is another, good offensive mind that I don't. It's shocking to see them being this poor. I kind of thought it and I'll be honest to tell you, I'm happy about it. But
you're despicable, man. You're despicable.
All right, so let me tell you why I feel this way. Because quiet is kept. It's been 14 years since we've been to the Super Bowl. I mean, and that's borderline cowboy territory. So, I whatever we got to do. Whatever we got to do, baby. Kenny Pickett don't want to come in and work hard enough and compete with people to win the right to start for the team. Fine. We had to sell our soul to go get Patrick Queen and Dante Jackson. God bless Juice Man Johnson down there and football hell in Carolina. Fine. Which, by the way, shout out to Deontay Johnson. He did score a touchdown. It's been a while.
Shout out to Shout out to Andy Dalton, by the way.
Yeah. Well,
it made you think though. Made you completely think.
The old red rifle. But so to that end, I'll go ahead and jump in because my favorite team this week has been outstanding for the last 3 weeks. And now let me start off by saying this because anybody that's watched what the scheduling has set up is not shocked that we're 3-0. I was confused about let me send a shout out to my man Doug Easterwood. He and I have a bet going right now. And that bet is that the Steelers will win more games than the Bears, which almost sounds silly. I'm about positive that the Steelers will win more games than the Bears. And I also have a bet with him that the Steelers are going to win the North. And so my argument to him was, Doug, we won 10 games with Kenny Pickett, who is not a playmaker. We've been talking about this, it feels like maybe the theme of the show is talking about quarterbacks who can have that playmaking ability. Kenny Pickett has not shown that thus far, not enough. And then there was, the coaching consistency. Matt Canada needs to be tarred and feathered. Like the fact that he has a job today blows my mind. But we still won 10 games in the NFC North and went 5-1 last year in that division. Then you add 2 players who obviously can play quarterback and an offensive coordinator who obviously can coordinate an offense and make us successful and score. Well, we scored more field goals than we have touchdowns, but we have scored 2 touchdowns, which brings us to an average of 1 touchdown per game, which I'm very impressed with. But our offenses look good, and our defenses look crazy. As good as our defense was last year, it's gotten better.
See, I already told you, and I said this already. And I told you this before, and I'm going to say it again. And I think I'm going to say this every week. I'm going to say this every week to you and on this show. The Steelers remind me of the Ravens from back in the day. A game management, you go there. But game management, you have a game managing quarterback. That's what basically what's happening.
Right.
They're playing defense. And I'm sorry, TJ Watt staying healthy. That's the best player. That's the best defensive player in the league right now.
Look, here's the thing that's really shocking is that they're giving up 8 points a game.
You're the number one defense. You have the number one defense in the league.
Dude, it is wild.
In 3 weeks.
Now, to my point, and I'll say this, to keep things funneled in, the first 8 weeks of our schedule don't include any division rivals. And it also doesn't include, we do play teams that did not have good, that did not make the playoffs last year. And a lot of those teams are still in a rebuilding mode. So, and this Charger team was a new, with a new head coach and a new offense and all the stuff that they did last week. Yes, there's a lot of stuff that where when you look at that team, you see a lot of where they're rebuilding. You see a lot of where they're, a lot of new, things that they're doing to try to set a tone. Harbaugh is changing the
defense
culture.
Is insane, man. I'm just watching this clip and I'm just like, wow, man, that defense just they don't let up.
It's relentless. And here's the crazy part, right? So we lose Alex Highsmith, the bookend to TJ Watt, to a hamstring. So we expect him to be out for a few weeks with that, between 2 and 4 weeks with the hamstring. And right behind him comes a kid we've been grooming for 2 years, standing behind and working behind. There he is, Nick Herbig, who's been working behind TJ Watt. So, you think you get a break because Highsmith gets hurt? No, we're right back to it, right behind him. And so, and I see more of the same. We got the Colts coming up after this.
This is a steel curtain 2.0. I'm just gonna say it. This is Steel
Hey.
Curtain 2.0.
Yeah.
You're giving up 8 points a game in 3 weeks.
It's
Tone,
scary.
I don't know if you heard me say this. Excuse me. I don't know if you heard me say this, but here's one of the things I've been saying for weeks now after watching week 1. Okay. I've been saying, you remember back in the day when and he hates when I say this, and I'm gonna say it again because I said it about 5 minutes ago. Do you remember what the Ravens were back in the day when they had Trent Dilfer?
Oh yeah, they was just strictly defense.
And just had a game manager, right? They just had a game manager. Because honestly, you ain't heard really much about from Najee Harris.
Well,
They haven't.
You got a guy that can just throw the ball. You know, it's little and it's real small, little short routes.
oh,
We're just gonna take. That's all we're doing. We're gonna take little short routes. Our defense is holding us up.
Yeah.
What's happening right now? This is why I say Steel Curtain 2.0. We're watching.
Well, look at week 1. Week 1, we had
you went to Atlanta.
Field goals.
Yeah,
six field goals
again. See,
Yeah.
I know you hate me saying this. But you go to the Super Bowl off defense. Defense wins championships.
Hey, listen. If we get the same outcome as that 2000 Ravens team,
you will definitely be saying, "Yo, Aunt, you were right."
I'm coming to take you to dinner. I'm coming to take you to dinner.
I don't think I've seen a defense play like this in a very long time, man. I'll be honest. Tone, what you think?
That defense is playing lights out. I mean, and to your point, Anthony, with a defense like that, all you need is a game manager. You don't need Justin Fields to play outside of his means. Don't turn the football over. Let the defense make the plays. That's it. And they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing on defense.
They did. You remember what they did in the first game, the first week? The first week they played against Atlanta in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Okay, yep. I want you to understand what they did. Do you realize what TJ Watt was doing? I mean, he was taunting the crowd. But how do you do that?
That crowd was half Steelers.
No, it was not. Stop.
It was a lot of Steelers.
It was a lot of dirty birds there, man. He was taunting that crowd. I mean, man, he was getting off that line. I mean, look, I'm just cooking that offensive line.
That's another thing with him. That get off is insane. Like his first step is he's so quick coming off that get off, dude. It's crazy. And the way he's able to bend and get around offensive linemen
he's slinky. He turns into a slinky underneath them guys, man. It's filthy to watch, bro. It's filthy to watch. And so Tone, I'm gonna tell you this story. I've told Ant before, but you wouldn't believe it. The day that we drafted TJ Watt, I was so upset. So upset. So that year we needed a playmaking safety. We didn't have one, and at that spot, we took TJ Watt at 22. At 21, Jabril Peppers from Michigan went to Cleveland, and I was so frustrated because he had been such a playmaker in so many different aspects for Michigan, and I was excited that we needed that playmaking safety to start our youth movement. And he was gonna fall right into our range, and the Cleveland took him, and so I was already upset about that. And it was like, man, who is this white kid? He's not his brother. His brother is hurt all the time. I don't want this guy. Get him, whatever. And so then the first game of the season against that Browns team with Jabril Peppers, he goes out and gets 2 sacks and a pick and a forced fumble. And I said, well, maybe we'll like him after all.
And to that point, now you look at the longevity of his career versus Jabril Peppers, who's basically South Cleveland, So
he's been a godsend for us. He's the straw that stirs the drink.
As far as I will say this before we go to the next topic, man. I will say this: TJ Watt, by the time his career is over, because of JJ Watt's back injury, will have a better career than JJ Watt.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Easily said with that. easily.
And he's learned a lot from his brother. Like, I want people to not understand like that. I don't want people to understand where I'm coming from when I say that. He's learned a lot from his brother. I know his brother's in his ear. Hey, look, you get this guy coming up. You make sure you go under here. He's learned a lot.
Oh, of course.
So, I mean, you learn it from one of the greats who's going to go into the Hall of Fame. Let's just put it this way. KJ Watt's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
TJ's going, and all said and done, TJ's going to be right there next to him.
Yeah. Ain't no way they're not. There's no way they're not. They might as well go ahead and get Derek Watt in there as a special team player or something. That just makes sense to me. So look, man, and I know you're an Eagles fan, Tone.
Yes,
I got to. Oh man, I gotta go. Bye. Peace.
All right, so
Sorry,
I was gonna say, cover your eyes because this was the and before we get to what I'm about to show, I gotta say sorry to all of my church members down here that are Saints fans because I showed them a lot of love last week, and I sent the podcast over to them, and I was like, man, I showed y'all a lot of love. I gotta, you know what I'm saying, I gotta send this over to y'all, and then they went and did this to me, and now I done jinxed them. I feel terrible. I'm sure you don't, so I'm gonna let you talk about this team and what they did last week against one of the more dominant teams in the NFL through 2 weeks.
Yeah, you know what? It's crazy to think about it, man, because we literally are just one Saquon catch away from being 3-0, right?
Oh.
To be completely honest.
Absolutely.
Honestly, defense for even dating back to last year, man. This team just been, I don't know, just hadn't really seemed to be able to figure it out, get it together. But then you talk about the point. You look at what they did defensively coming to this game. New Orleans was what I think they had going 15 straight possessions where they have scored on a possession, and for that defense to be able to set the tone, set the edge, kind of pretty much keep Alvin Kamara in check for the most part of the game.
That's right. Yeah.
Going to halftime, I think it was the game was 3-0, and it was New Orleans was up, at halftime 3 points. But then once we got to the fourth quarter, the defense just pretty much put on the show, being but not breaking. And then of course, I think that last drive, man, hey.
Oh my gosh.
We lost. I think Mekhi Becton went out with a hand injury. Lane Johnson went out with a concussion. We lost Devontae Smith. We just had to rely on pretty much a makeshift offensive line at that point, and then put the hands in the hands of Saquon. Saquon did what he did, scored twice in the fourth quarter, in the second half, and then of course, Goddard set us up with that last run from Saquon. So we was able to pull it out. One thing that I still am struggling with myself is we got to figure out Jalen's got to do a better job protecting the football. Again, he's turning the football over at a very alarming rate for me. Granted, the interception in the end zone definitely took points off the board. I can't put that much on him. I think obviously Smitty was supposed to run flash right across the receiver's face. Right. I think, again, Tyrann Mathieu, being a vet that he is, just read the play. But if we can eliminate the turnovers, or cut back on the turnovers with Jalen, and then if that defense can finally start playing, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, we finally start seeing some flashes of that dominant D line. Yeah. That's what Zach Bond has been balling out since he got there, bro. So definitely been he been a heavy presence. One thing that definitely surprised me with that, bro, is we hadn't seen Devin White, and I know he was bought over there from Tampa. He actually got beat out by Nakobe Dean, and so that's the reason why he hadn't even been playing. But my Eagles, man, if we can figure it out defensively, I think we're gonna be all right.
Man, it's crazy. It was crazy because man, I feel like you definitely when you go to church on Sunday, Blocker, I think you need to go get baptized again. Because you sure were giving them praise. Now, granted, and you had to. I don't know if you've seen it. Man, Tone, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know if you've seen it, but we both were praising. So let's just say I thought your secondary, and I think your secondary is gonna be a problem with you guys all year round. You guys don't have your front line is not an issue. I think your secondary, and I've been saying this since you guys got beat the first game.
Yeah.
When you guys got beat the first game, and you basically no, actually you guys won that first game if I'm not mistaken. It was a shootout. It was a shootout against the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
It was a shootout against the Green Bay Packers, and I said the blocker right as that game ended. I said there's a problem with the Eagles secondary. I literally messaged him right after, and I was like, I hope you're watching this. There's a problem with the Eagles secondary. And it's just like right as soon as the clicker hit 0, I said, blocker, there's a problem with the Eagles secondary. And there's going to be a problem all year round. You guys, I don't know what it is, but if you can't rely on Saquon to keep doing all of this. There's no way you can allow this to happen. And when you're sitting there and you're thinking about it, Saquon is playing lights out. He's playing like the guy, saying, "Hey, Giants, you should have did something.
Should have paid him. Yeah, you should have
paid me." And so you guys got to steal. When I heard, and I gotta ask you, because when I heard Saquon was going to the Eagles, I kind of was upset because we in the same division. I was mad, I was really highly upset. I said, "What are they doing? What are they doing? They got Devontae Smith. They got AJ Brown. Y'all got y'all talented on offense. Y'all are very talented. But the one thing I did tell Blocker the first game before we when we previewed, I said, I'm watching the Green Bay Packers look offensively do the same thing the Philadelphia Eagles are doing offensively.
Yeah.
And here now you see it. Saquon took over that game, and so did Goddard. Because Jalen Hurts he definitely did not look like an elite QB.
And he has not. He hasn't for the past several games, even dating back to last year. Right? When they even through the entirety of last season, he had, granted, I don't know if he was dealing with some kind of undisclosed injury that was apparent, but Jalen didn't look like Jalen coming off that MVP season, MVP caliber season in 2022.
Right.
And he really hasn't looked the same. I've noticed even on some of the RPO runs that they've tried to utilize with him. I understand not taking hits, but he just doesn't look explosive as he once was. And it goes back again. I look, even with his decision making at times. Again, you're turning the football over extremely at an extremely high rate, and that as a quarterback, you got to be able to protect the football.
It's your number one goal is to protect the football in each drive with a kick. So and look, this leads right back into what we're talking about previewing week 4. This is a big game because this is a showdown. Welcome back. This is a showdown that I think is going to have playoff implications. We saw what the Eagles defense was able to do, and they look like that Eagles defense, to be honest with you. So, I play a lot of Madden, I play a lot of video games. That Eagles defense has so many weapons. They're the Philadelphia Bulldogs, if you will, the University of Georgia Eagles. But this defense it looked like the defense that we expected to see last week against a potent Saints offense. So, man, they get a test in. We talked about Baker earlier, and Baker is he's been special going into the so far this season. They what they did to Detroit, what they've done to in general this season, he's taken some guys that you wouldn't have think it, from a running back standpoint, and made some plays with them. So I'll let you go first, Tone, since this is your team, and this is the team that put your team out of the playoffs. Man, talk a little bit about what you expected from this Eagles versus Buccaneers game. It's one of my games of the week in the pros.
Man, to be honest with you, Locker, I think it's going to be a good game. I think for me, again, I want to see that defense kind of pick back up where they left off last week in New Orleans. I think that's going to be a big issue there. If we can step up, play, especially along the front line, if the 7 can really step up and show up, I think that's really going to help us out. We can get a lot of pressure, especially with the Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
If we him, of course, Sweat, he's got to be big in the game. And then, of course, my boy from Big Jordan Davis. Now, one thing, kind of going back, kind of alluding to what Anthony talked about is that secondary, that back end. That's what we've got to really sure it up on. I know we got Mitchell, who's a rookie corner. He's been, I mean, for the most part, he's played pretty well for the season. We got C.J. Garner-Johnson back there has been helping out a lot. Slay, I think we gotta, Slay has a tendency of getting beat sometime, and that just comes to the territory with him. If we can play pretty solid in that back end and sure that up, I think we'll be okay. I definitely look for Tampa Bay to test us a lot with Baker, and then of course that Mike Evans connection. Tampa Bay has been playing some good ball. I mean, it's hard to dispute them. For them to go in up to Detroit and end up knocking them off the way they did. So I think
that was when I raised my eyebrows and I realized, hey, because look, man, they paid Baker that money in the offseason, and Baker's had his ups and downs, and he had an outstanding year last year, and kudos to him, man. The last time the Steelers were this good, we lost to Baker in the playoffs, and so and after that, man, things really got rough for him. And he had all those awesome commercials, and he just hasn't been able to, live up to that hype since then. So it's really dope to see him getting back to that form, the number one pick, the Heisman Trophy, and all the accolades that his career has brought with him. But it's really cool to see, especially since it's not in my division. I'm all for all of it. But what they've done, I never thought of them as the quarterback of the future, or I thought he was the bridge guy until they drafted someone. But looking at what he did and the way he's played this year and continuing what he did last year, he looked like he worth the money, and that's impressive for them, man.
I honestly believe that. And we were talking off air, Tone. Yep. And I was telling you, when we were talking about DK and everything like that, and we're talking about, man, you playing for for 4 teams. 5 teams in 4 years. Baker's what, 3 teams in 5 years?
Something like that, yeah.
And this is his second year, second year with the Bucks. And I think it was maturity. Maturity had a lot to do with the way what we're seeing from Baker right now. Just looking at how he's playing the game, he's looking, as we said, he's looking like that Heisman Trophy winner. The number one pick. Mike Evans even said, he's like, man, the ball, the spiral, it's a tight spiral coming to him. He's got that arm strength is there. He's not making bonehead plays where he's getting sacked a bunch of times like he was in Cleveland. He's got a running back of Rashad White that's helping. I think that's going to be a very big difference to see what you guys do against Godwin and Mike Evans. Because of course I think you guys might stop. You guys, there's a possibility you guys stuff the run, but can you guys stop Baker from getting the ball to Mike Evans or Chris Godwin?
Yeah.
And that's another key thing, because again, we just talked about the secondary, right? That secondary is always going to be a question mark for us. But then again, will the defensive line resemble what we just saw a couple of days ago in New Orleans, right? Will they be able to pressure up front, get some pressure on Baker, make Baker force him to making some of those decisions? Or to your point, have we seen a resurgence in Baker and his game? So obviously it looks like we have. So I think that's going to be a
go
key.
Bucks. I just need y'all to have an inconsistent season, and maybe my dream goes where it's like I said, we may not make the playoffs to where we make the playoffs, but I'm just saying, I just need y'all to have an inconsistent season. I just need y'all to be like the Dallas Cowgirls of the NFC East.
Oh God, look, I don't know if y'all got a chance to check out my Hate Bowl 2024, man. That was fun to me, because the Hogs won, the Steelers won, my fantasy teams won, and I was trying to figure out how to make it a tie, so both teams will lose. And look, so this is the thing. I root for the Cowboys. Come on, Cowboys, beat the Ravens, because at the end of the day, the Cowboys losing doesn't have any effect on me. The Ravens losing, that's great, that's fantastic. And so then I turn it off like, man, the Ravens gonna blow them out, and I go and start doing work, and I look back and it's 25-28, and the Cowboys got a chance, and what is going on here, man? And charge me, ring me up for one in the swear jar, and show as shit stank. The Cowboys come out and do Cowboy things.
Okay. they go Cowboy.
And I hate the fact. Look, I hate the fact that every week we always talking about the Dallas Cowboys. But they in my division, so I got no choice. I think, and they're inconsistent, and I hope I don't see that from your team, Tone. I really don't. I really hope maybe that was a wide open awake for your defense to be like, hey, look, man, we need to step up and play. Because when it comes down to you guys playing us, you guys actually playing division, you know how tough it is. Last year we had inconsistency at QB, and we still gave y'all a hell of a a hell of a run. I feel like, and I love division rivalry games. I really do. I feel like it brings it brings that energy. Man, we haven't heard from Worm, man. Yo, Worm.
I'm back.
Man. Worm, we got this topic coming up next, man. And I don't know, who's your football team? Let me just ask.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, Lord. And they're doing good. I forgot about that because I was looking through it and I was like, man, who is his team? So,
man.
And look, I'll tell you this. I gotta say thank you. Go Max Crosby, because at the end of the day, and I know a lot of these old head Steelers fans, they're gonna tell me they hate the Raiders too. And there was that rivalry.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple back and forths in the few years since I've been a Steelers fan, 20 years or so since I've been a Steelers fan. But y'all beating the Ravens again. Same concept. What the Raiders do, if the Raiders win and the Cowboys win, that don't really affect me in division like it does when y'all beat the Ravens. And so coming back from down 10 points down in the fourth quarter is beautiful. And look, the Ravens almost gave it away again last week to the Cowboys. Man, I can't quite put my thumb on it. They say it's the offensive line, but that offensive line has, to be honest, in my estimation, has been patchwork for a long time. Maybe it's because I'm looking at, such a great pass rushing with the Steelers, but bring me up for $1 on the homer tag as well. But man,
you just don't stop.
I owe some money too. But the Bills, this Bills and Ravens game, man. So I still feel like the Bills are, while this 3-week sample has been pretty good, I don't feel like they played like that type of team. Tua gets knocked out. That was one. And then the other two teams they played were, the Jags are just, man, they are really bad.
I'm confused about the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm just gonna say that. I don't know about y'all, but I'm really confused because Trevor Lawrence signed that big contract in the offseason, and he's not. I don't feel like he's playing like it. I know he's out with, been without Evan Ingram, which is a big part of his passing work because he relies on that
in the middle of the field.
On the middle of the field. I feel like I don't know where ETN is. I have no idea where that guy is. Not
the real one. No,
I have no idea. So yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from, but Josh Allen looks the part. Tone, Worm, y'all jump in, y'all chime in. What are y'all seeing from the Bills?
Yeah, so I got to bring it back a little bit further. So here's my thing about drafting quarterbacks.
Okay.
So if you draft a Trevor Lawrence, you draft, Baker Mayfield, and usually they go to the worst team.
Caleb Williams.
They go to the worst team.
That's right.
And it takes years to build an offensive line. You can't do nothing if you don't have an offensive line.
Absolutely.
You can throw the ball a country mile, but if you ain't got time to throw it a country mile, most likely it's not going to happen. So I always believe that you need to start building your team, not getting the quarterback. I mean, sometimes you got to get the best athlete that's out there.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence was the can't miss guy, right? Like, he's supposed to be the tops of the tops. So you have to go after him. So, But
I
no,
feel like
yeah,
at times
right.
though, like he has shown, and I don't know if y'all see it. I know y'all, we all watch every game. I'm pretty sure we try to watch as many games we possibly can just because we love the game, the game that much. But there are times where he looks like that top one, that top number one overall pick, and then there's times he looks like he's a bust.
Man, it's so up and down with what he and I know I'm sorry, I don't mean to even be talking over you. I'm so mind blown by this guy. And I'm kind of feeling the same way about Caleb Williams. Like, you guys are supposed to be these prospects are as can't miss as Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning. And when you start talking about that era of number one pick, because there's some guys, Jamarcus Russell, anybody that man, my manager,
he did great for the Raiders, man. What you talking about?
So my manager is a season ticket holder for the LSU, and so he and somehow he's being in the hospitality world. We kind of get that inside scoop with people, and so man, he was telling me about Jamarcus Russell down here at Baton Rouge, at LSU. He wasn't shocked to see all the stuff that they were saying and the bad reports that started coming out after the fact, calling him bust, all that. Man, I'm sorry, Worm. He said, bro, he knew right away they were wasting $80 million.
Oh, I knew that too. Yeah, I knew that, man. And before the reports even came out, I was like, you know what?
This ain't the guy.
Yeah. I was already done, man. I was already checked out with Jamarcus. I didn't want him. But yeah. This is another thing. Like, so you get your Caleb Williams, you get your Trevor Lawrence, and you don't sit these guys. You throw them in the fire and
right away.
Yeah, just throw them in the fire and man, they can get it done. Well, if they don't have offensive line, they can't. They don't have a running back, they can't. You're asking them to do all these different things and read this. The game is much faster.
Yep. Oh my God.
And it's not like these guys got to go to class. All they do is, I mean, I watched the Netflix special Receiver.
Yeah.
Man, all these guys 8-9 hours at the facility watching film. They know what you can do good. They know what you can't do good. Yep. And so you're putting a rookie in this hot seat and expecting them to develop so fast, right? That's kind of like the Bryce Young thing. It's not that Andy Dalton's way better. It's just because Andy Dalton's been in the fire before. And he had time, this is like his third or fourth team.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's been around. This is what, his 14th, 15th season?
Yeah.
So, I was talking with somebody about this. Was this? No, it wasn't you I was talking with. I was talking with somebody about this earlier today. You can't expect Bryce Young to be what Andy Dalton has been, because Andy Dalton, if I remember correctly, he had to come in and sit behind somebody, Carson Palmer or somebody, and he had to build his cut his teeth and learn how to be a professional.
So you talking about that? I don't mean to cut you off, but you were talking about you were talking about Bryce Young and Andy Dalton. Worm, you said the same thing. I seen a crazy take yesterday.
Okay. Guy
said, "Hey man, the reason why Bryce Young's having this issue, because his girlfriend. Let me tell you this crazy thing. I know this sounds crazy, but it does make sense. Guess who his then again girlfriend is dating right now? Who left him in the offseason?
She is a basketball player or
Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, wow. From Philadelphia.
So I seen this take where it was like, man, the guy was like, maybe he brokenhearted, man, because he don't look like the same guy in Alabama. He don't look like that guy.
But you know what? And as crazy as that sounds,
but I just feel like if you have an Andy Dalton who's coming in, he just proves to you, hey, I'm a vet. This is what I need to do. I blame Andy Dalton for not taking this man under your wing and saying, hey, this one needs to go. Leave all that outside noise at the door. We're professionals. We're playing football. Get your head in the game. Hey, put one in the jar for me. Get your ass in the game. Stop thinking stupid.
But you know what? You're absolutely right. So by that same token, just in comparison, right? So I actually met Andy Dalton this or last summer right before he signed with Carolina. He was having brunch with his wife and 3 kids, and I always told myself if I ever met him, I was gonna say all the mean things I said about him when he was in Cincinnati, and I didn't. I fangirled, and I was like, "So nice to meet you, Mr. Dalton. Hope you have fun in Carolina." Oh man, I felt like a jerk. Man, I said all this bad stuff. I wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire. Nah. And then I meet him, and I'm cheesing from here to here, man. I look like yes, the master. You know what I'm saying? I almost started tap dancing for him, but like that's the deal. He's sitting with his wife and kids. This, and so look, like you said, Worm. This ain't college. So no, he's not getting that million in NIL that he can impress some girl with on campus. No, he's not getting. He's not going to have his study sessions. While the ugly girl does his homework and the cute girl goes in the bathroom and they study. You know what I mean? Like this is the real world with grown men whose jobs and lives are based off of you at 21 being able to, and not you at 21 coming to the league, sit behind Andy Dalton for a few years, and you finally kind of think, no, you gonna come in and by week 1, 6 weeks or 18 weeks from now, you better not have this together.
But see, that's where, and I don't know if did y'all get a chance to watch that Tom Brady little thing where he was talking about, it's not fair. It's, for these rookie quarterbacks to just jump straight in from college when they're playing a college style offense where it's just where they're in shotgun. They're not in single back formation. I form. They're in shotgun all the time. Yeah. They're not learning the offense. They're not getting that opportunity because they're getting thrown straight into the fire. And he was like, you can't expect guys to come out and just automatically do what a CJ Stroud has done or what Jaden Daniels is doing right now for Washington. You can't expect every guy to play like that. They need to develop. And if you can't give them time to develop, then you're just ruining this guy's confidence. And that's what's happening. I feel like the same thing that's happening to Caleb it happened to Mitchell Trubisky.
Huh.
I feel like every quarterback that has gone to Chicago, it's happened to because there's no development.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like I am wholeheartedly against drafting quarterbacks with the number 1 pick.
Yeah,
I am against like you can go get the shiny new thing. Give me a guy in the third, fourth, fifth, sixth round that needs to prove himself. I'm starting him. I got more examples of Tony Romo than I do Trevor Lawrence.
Let me give you one. Let me jump in here and give you one that breaks my heart, Worm. And I'm gonna tell you why it is too. But let me give you the example to prove your point. 2 years ago, we were in need of a starting quarterback in Pittsburgh. We went and took the first quarterback off the draft. It was around the 20th pick. We picked Kenny Pickett. This guy was supposed to be the most NFL ready. He had dominated in the ACC. He had led his team to a conference championship win and a great bowl game. And there was all these talks of him being, and there was I can't remember if there was Heisman talk, but he was the best quarterback in the draft in a weak draft, a weak quarterback draft. Who was the best quarterback in that draft? Do y'all remember?
It wasn't Kenny Pickett.
Nope. It was Brock Purdy, the last pick in the draft.
Brock Purdy, yep.
So we're talking about now to that point, and it's exactly like Tom Brady said. If you can't put this kid in the opportunity, in the window where he's got a chance to be good, and this is what I say. Honestly, if the Panthers would have picked CJ Stroud and Bryce Young would have went to the Texans, we'd be talking about Bryce Young in the same way, because what the Texans offensive coordinator did was he said, let us make this simple for you. We're going to take Devin Singletary, who was a castaway running back, and we're gonna run the ball with him, and he averaged 5 yards a game. And we're gonna take David Pearson, he averaged 3.5, 4 yards a carry, and we're gonna build this offensive line, just like Worm said. We're going to get you receivers that you can build a connection with, and all you have to do, CJ Stroud, is protect the ball. That's all you got to do.
All you got to do.
And you come in, you make plays. So on the other hand, again, we'll say it again. And I said this last week, and I've screamed it, a voice in the woods, yelling to the masses. I've been saying it for forever. Give me somebody from Kyle Shanahan's coaching staff, and then you go and look at the Saints. I think his name is Clint Kubiak or something like that. Coach K, whatever they call him. This dude is right from that tree. And I'll be honest with you. Kyle Shanahan got a sister, and I take her as offensive coordinator because look, what they do offensively is simple. They come in, they run the ball, they protect their quarterback. Their offensive line knows they communicate offensively, and then all you got to do is when the time comes, you make the play that you need to make. It's very simple. He makes it very easy.
Yep.
I watch a guy on YouTube who does. He's made his name. He was a former NFL quarterback, but he made his name because he worked with. He was in Atlanta, and then he was in San Francisco with Shanahan, and so he calls his plays on Madden like Shanahan, and it's a lot of running, and then it's a lot of play action, and a lot of you get 2 reads, and then you get out of there if you don't like your 3rd read or your 2nd read, and it's really, really simple. So Brock Purdy. All he's got to do is come in, trust and believe in the offense that's set before you, and look, man, this thing has worked for years, man. Matt Ryan was a MVP, and Kyle Shanahan had them up 4 scores in the Super Bowl because how easy that offense is. Derek Carr was washed.
Yes.
They were, man, listen, the crazy part, and the reason why I show so much love to my church members is because a lot of them were so upset with the amount of money that they spent paying Derek Carr. And these were the same people that were delighted to see how well he was playing in this offense. When you come in and you build your offensive line, like you say, you get and they got some guys in with the Saints that are athletic. They can do exactly what is needed for that zone scheme that Shanahan runs. And now Kubiak is installed in New Orleans. These guys can make some plays. And so you got good offensive linemen, and then you work off of that run game, which then made Alvin Kamara not so unhappy. And so he's playing well, and you getting the ball into your playmakers' hands. And, a lot of people talk about Brock Purdy and how he's not looking as good because he doesn't have a Deebo Samuel or a George Kittle or a CMC. But, I mean, Jordan Mason and Juwan Jennings will show you that we don't necessarily need CMC. Because before CMC, it was Raheem Mostert and Matt Breida. And then after those two went and got paid for how well they did, then it was Elijah Mitchell. And then they brought in CMC. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you that system – When you protect your quarterback and you build your offensive line, man, are you kidding me? That it's exactly like you say. You can't put a quarterback in that position.
No, and the reason why you're right, if you look at Jimmy G, point guard Jimmy, all he had to do.
That is the most handsomest man in NFL.
All he had to do was put the ball where it needed to go. That was it. I could throw the ball 45 yards on the line.
Yeah.
That's all you need. If I could do that, I would have tried out for him.
You might still have a chance.
Yeah, I'm like, so when we signed him with the Raiders, I was like, God. You know what? I'm through with the whole coaching staff. No. I already knew what it was. Yeah. But yeah, that proves the point. Jimmy G, all you had to do, guy, is protect the ball, put the ball where it's supposed to go, when it's supposed to go. That's it.
That's it. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do.
But see, right now, if I'm the Raiders, I'm not gonna lie. I'm taking advantage of this. If I'm Antonio Pierce, I'm taking it. I'm definitely gonna keep my guard in Minshew. I'm gonna keep that guy. I'm gonna let him learn. I'm gonna go ahead and pick. I'm gonna get me a QB. I'm gonna go ahead and get me a QB in this round. And like you said, don't have to be the first round. You have the talent, but here's my thing: you're wasting away Devontae Adams. And if I was you, I would go ahead and get rid of him, letting him go get a ring. Because you ain't gonna win a ring and go get your draft picks, like you said, and rebuild, because Max Crosby ain't going nowhere. Max Crosby said, as long as Antonio Pierce is here, I'm here.
Yeah.
You get rid, and he even said it. And if you remember, he said in the offseason, if you do not keep him, if you do not sign him as a head coach, I'm walking. I'm not re-signing with you. I'm leaving. Yeah. And that's your corner piece in your defense. I feel like you need to go ahead and take advantage. I don't know if how y'all feel about this, but I would go ahead and trade Devontae to a team that's going to be a title contender, give him that opportunity to win that ring. Because I mean, if you don't, you're just wasting away his talent, and you're going to waste away his opportunity to get picks.
That's not fair to him. That's not fair to him. That's not fair to him.
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree. I think me and Antonio talked about this not too long ago. First thing you got to do, you got to get Devontae over there to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, we got to get something for him, but man, let him go be happy, man. He is not happy in the desert.
And he said it numerous times, like he's not happy. Yeah. But that's my thing. It's like, I don't believe that. I mean, I know none of y'all believe that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say letting him get to if he wants to be happy in New York, that's fine. You still also kind of got to do business. And I don't know. Gardner Minshew looks great. I think it's clear that he's not your future. So, but I think if you take the right approach and you build that offensive line and you got those players that can that can fit into your system, then you go find a quarterback that can. Do you have any names that you can think of?
Well, not right now. So I don't think we need. I personally don't think we need to draft a quarterback. I think we probably need to get find one in free agency. Okay. Only reason I'm saying that is because then again, how long do you sit him? Right. What is the time frame? What's that look like? We got the weapons.
Yeah, you need to take advantage of what But my thing is though, y'all need to take advantage of what Green Bay is. What Green Bay does. Like. Exactly. And I like look what they did with Malik Willis while Jordan Love has been out. Malik Willis looked like the guy that Tennessee signed along or picked up. And I'm just like, wow, like holy hell. Like this guy. Go ahead, Tone.
No, I'm just saying he's looking really good being over there in Green Bay and only been there maybe a month now.
Yeah. If that, 3 weeks.
That goes to show you what Green Bay does in the development of developing quarterbacks, and I feel like a lot of teams need to take advantage of that and start understanding what Green Bay. Like I wish they would do a documentary on the development of their quarterbacks because how many quarterbacks have you seen actually become a bust in the last 5 of them they had? 4.
So
I'm thinking Bryce Young, like trade. Look. Let's do something. Y'all don't want him. We a damn show take him.
You could at least try him out.
Yeah,
you could at least try him out and figure out because they're not going to pick up his fifth year option. No. And so then you pick up you got a year and a half, 2 years left with him. You could throw him in if things go awry, and because the problem with y'all are in the same boat as sadly, I'm sorry to say this, y'all in the same boat as the Browns because you're in a neighborhood. You ain't have to leave because I said that. I just kidding. But man, look, that the divisions that AFC West is. I mean, look, man, it's the Chiefs. Now the Chargers got a chance they could come in, and we're gonna see that this weekend. They got a chance to come in and maybe make God bleed. The same thing out at the NFC West is another division where you got to feel like, I wonder is the window closing on the Niners, but the Raiders are in a spot right now where even if they overachieve as some would say that they are doing now, you question if can they get over the top, get over the hump, make things happen to where they can get into a top seed, or do you take do you just try out young folks and see what sticks, throw things against the wall and see what sticks, and then you can start putting together pieces if you got a long-term plan.
Yeah, I wanted to say something, man, before we wrap it up, man.
Yep.
Tone, I know you got to go get your son. I know, normally we don't normally try to keep it this long, but it's just, just been fun doing this with y'all, man. Y'all are both very knowledgeable, man. But for the viewers out there, man, I really think it's important for the viewers to know who you guys are, where they can find you guys at, what time do you guys normally drop, when how you guys do everything, your social media, everything, man. Where can everybody find you, man? I don't know who wants to go first.
Yeah, Tony, I'll go ahead and let you go.
Okay. Yeah, no, we normally typically do it on Thursday nights here lately, man. We try to drop on at least an episode weekly on Thursday nights. One thing about us, man, you can catch us out right now. We're on Spotify, we're on Amazon Music, we're on a site called rss.com. We're also on Samsung Podcast, social media sites. We got Run Your Mouth podcast on IG. We also got Run Your Mouth podcast on TikTok. And so we go in and post a few clips and stuff on those sites as well. So that's where you guys can definitely catch us, follow us, and check us out at. So
nice,
man. Look, and I've been saying it for a minute, man, and I can't thank y'all enough, man. This was a blast. Like Ant said, man, we don't normally do 2.5 hours. I was just telling y'all, I was like, man, I was talking with Ant, we got to start shortening this thing down because when I go back and repurpose everything, it is it's a lot of work to get through. But when it's good like this, man, it's hard to stop it. So I'm thankful we get to have this opportunity, and I'm looking forward to it. Not too long. So don't scurry too far. We'll definitely be doing this again real soon.
I was excited, man, because he had sent me y'all stuff, man, and I was like, all right, cool. So I kind of listened. I listened to like 4 episodes before I had to do a bunch of stuff yesterday, man. I listened to both y'all talking, and I was like, man, these dudes know what they talking about, man. I was like, man, I like this. I like this.
Yeah, I love how y'all break down like that. Like you get into the minutia of it that a lot of times, a lot of folks, media types, talking heads like we sit and do, man, they talk from a bird's eye view, as opposed to really diving into it. And so that was the thing I think that excited me the most was not only are we gonna get the chance to talk, from the top of the mountain, but we can really get into it deep in the valley and go into it. And so, man, it's been exciting. I can't say that enough, man. So I'm looking forward to it again, man. Definitely.
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to us working again and doing more. And I'll say that, I've said it, in our chats and everything, but I say it publicly in front of everybody. If it's ever anything, man, that I can do, whether it's, producing visuals for you, I made that little logo in the top corner for you and a couple more. I sent them all over. Whatever y'all, if you like them, man, use them. That no charge, man. Or if you want me to go back and reimagine anything, I'm happy to do all that too, man.
Man, I appreciate it. I've learned so much just by this episode.
Yeah, man.
Together. So I appreciate it, man. Like, yeah, we definitely got to do this again, man. This was fun without the. Like I said, pick up the son, pick up the daughter, but yeah, this was fun.
Nah, it is what it is. Like I said, man, and I definitely get it, man. Like I said, man, it was fun working with y'all too today, man. Very knowledgeable. Like again, good luck to your Raiders on Sunday. Tone, I hope your team loses to the Bucks.
We need it, man.
And there's a possibility the Steelers might go 4-0 this week. So there's a possibility. There's a possibility all this happens, man. I'm just saying, there's a possibility for a lot.
It's the Colts, man. I feel real good about it. So look, man, this joint podcast was fantastic. It's better than I expected, man. Certainly not the way I planned it, and it's exactly how I wanted to go every time. But for the Run Your Mouth podcast, I'm Blocker Mitchell. That's the Angry Puerto Rican, Anthony Roman, Antonio, Jeremy, man. Thank y'all again. Y'all definitely come check us out again. Be safe. God bless. Peace. The baby is a paid actor.